My House of Horrors Chapter 1171 to 1180. People from Zhujiang Station? When Mr. Wang heard this name, he frowned. I never said I was going to ask for their help. Just tell him to go back. After all, they won't be able to help you. Mr. Wang, you have been taking care of your body, so you might not know this. The school worker had a smile on his face. In the past half a year, Zhujiang Station has solved many big and serious cases. They have been through many battles. Even in the whole province, they are the best of the best. This problem of mine was planted at Zhujiang Station. I have nothing to talk to them about, and I don't care how many cases they have solved. Mr. Wang seemed to have worked at Zhujiang Station before, but due to various reasons, he seemed to have fallen out with the station. Just tell him to go. The station has so many cases, so they won't be able to spare any manpower. The worker looked at the officer next to him with helplessness. The older officer voluntarily walked toward Mr. Wang. Brother Wang, Captain Yan has returned. Now, he is in charge of the station. Captain Yan, 20 years ago, the young man who discovered the problem with the case 2 weeks before you did and requested for the case to be reopened is now the person in charge of Zhujiang Station. Under his leadership, we've cracked major cases time and time again. The older officer knew Mr. Wang. Brother Wang, the current station is different from before. This time, I am here on Captain Yan's request. If possible, he would like to meet you. After all, you were the only person who supported him at the time. The mention of Captain Yan made Mr. Wang silent. I don't have the face to meet him. Closing the notebook, Mr. Wang handed it to Zuo Han. Haven't you suspected that the haunted house is really haunted? Perhaps this notebook can help you find some questions. Mr. Wang, I have rested enough. Today, we will depart for Shanghai. Mr. Wang seemed to have changed into a different person. The presence that radiated from him was completely different from before. Your personality has not changed at all. The worker shook his head. We have prepared a car for you. We will depart at 2 p.m. Before that, you'd better take a good rest. Stretching, Chen Ge was woken up by the alarm clock. After a simple wash, he hurried to open the door. Ever since he had obtained the black phone, he had lived every day to the fullest. Be it day or night, he had used all his time. After putting on the makeup for the employees, Chen Ge looked at the employees chatting in the dressing room. He also felt very relaxed. It would be great if we could live like this in the future. After all the makeup was done, Chen Ge held a simple morning meeting to discuss the future direction of development with the staff. Now, you are all very experienced haunted house workers. You have a lot of experience, and you can deal with all kinds of unexpected situations. I have no worries leaving the haunted house in your hands. Boss, from your tone, how come it feels like you're going on a long trip? Xiao Jiyu was wearing Dr. Skullcracker's outfit, and he pulled on the mask with both hands. Director Luo has bought the biggest haunted house in Shanghai. In the near future, I will first go there to open a branch. After everything has settled down, I will return. Opening a branch in Shanghai was not the main goal. Chen Ge's main goal was to deal with the cursed hospital. Now all the clues pointed to that hospital, and his missing parents might be there as well, so he had to go there. Boss, we have just settled down here. Isn't it not a good idea to open a branch like this? Zhang Jingju had been beaten up by society before, so he was more conservative. Our foundation is still Zhujiang's haunted house. The branch in Shanghai is just a trial run. Chen Ge looked at his employees. Now, I will distribute the work. After I leave, Xu Wan will be responsible for the scenario on the surface, and the spare key will temporarily be given to Xu Wan. Xiao Jiyu, if you run into any problems, try to communicate with Xu Wan and Xu Shu. Okay. Wu Jinping will be responsible for the underground scenario. Chen Ge turned to the handsome uncle with the ponytail. Me? No, I can't do that. Wu Jinping quickly waved his hands. Don't worry, someone will help you. This is the list. Later, you will go to the underground scenario and communicate with them. This room was filled with his own people. Most of the living employees had been through life and death with Chen Ge, so they could be trusted. Chen Ge handed a list to Wu Jinping. On it were the names of Dr. Wei, Ol, Bai, and a few others. After seeing this list, Wu Jinping slowly calmed down. Now that the arrangements in Zhujiang have been made, I will talk about the people who will be coming with me to Shanghai. Chen Ge turned to Zhang Jingju and Ku Changlin. Changlin, you have worked at that haunted house before. I will hand over the task of designing the scenarios and the various traps to you. From today onwards, you will be the person in charge of the props and scenarios there. Ku Changlin was very good at making mannequins and props. He was originally Shang Guan Qinghong's employee, but he had been poached by Chen Ge. Shang Guan Qinghong did not use your talent to its fullest. Now, I will give you a big enough stage so that you can do whatever you want. In a way, Chen Ge had fulfilled his promise to Ku Changlin. At the beginning, Ku Changlin was just a low-level worker that was not given much attention, but now, he had become the main designer of Shanghai's haunted house. Thank you, boss. This gratitude came from the bottom of Ku Changlin's heart. Ku Changlin will be responsible for the props and scenario design. The rest will be handed to Zhang Jingju. Chen Ge had a high regard for Zhang Jingju. After this employee was rescued from Liwan City, he had improved tremendously. In just a few days, he had familiarized himself with the operation of the haunted house, and he often gave Chen Ge unexpected help. For example, when he was in conflict with Lu Gang on the internet, it was Zhang Jingju who had led a group of fans to lure Lu Gang into taking the bait. In terms of business operations and socializing, Zhang Jingju was better than any other employee. Now that they were going to a new place, they needed someone like this. Furthermore, Zhang Jingju appeared to be a rich second generation, and his family had been in Shanghai for many years. Combining all these factors, Chen Ge decided to have Zhang Jingju be the acting manager. Boss, I'm afraid, there is nothing to be afraid of. You're the most suitable candidate. After giving a few more orders, Chen Ge had his employees return to their respective scenarios and started a new day of business. Soon. Today, I will use the nightmare mission reward that I get from the Wheel of Misfortune. After I complete this nightmare mission, I can consider going to Shanghai. Chen Ge had done everything that he could. The ghosts inside the black phone's Wheel of Misfortune had been sucked dry. Even though there were still some secrets in Zhujiang, to explore those secrets would take weeks or even months. Chen Ge could not afford to wait that long. I need to start planning and send Xiao Sun there as soon as possible. That is the most important thing. After witnessing Xiao Sun's power, Chen Ge desperately wanted to send Brother Sun to the cursed hospital. Haunted house became more and more popular on the internet. Many foreign visitors came to visit, and the park's daily income was increasing. However, it was the futuristic theme park that was facing many problems. The two managers were hospitalized one after another, and there seemed to be a power struggle within the park. Many basic services did not keep up, and it affected the visitors' experience. In conclusion, New Century Park had stabilized the situation. The next step was to work hard to overtake them. At noon, Chen Ge suddenly received a phone call. It was a big sister. She told Chen Ge that the doctor that Chen Ge had introduced to Zhang Ming had suddenly gone missing. The communication had been good, and the cochlear implant surgery had been prepared, but the doctor had suddenly gone missing, so Zhang Ming and his mother were very worried. Chen Ge asked the big sister a few questions and found out that Zhang Ming's mother had already taken Zhang Ming to Shanghai. With the help of the big sister, they had found a cheap rental house. The original plan was to have the surgery the next day, but the doctor had gone missing, and now they were all panicking. I can't drag this on any longer. I need to go to Shanghai today. Chen Ge knew very well that the doctor's condition had been off from the start. His disappearance was probably the work of the cursed hospital. If he rushed there now, he might have a chance to save the doctor's life. With a human life at stake, Chen Ge did not hesitate. He returned to the haunted house directly and informed Ku Changlin and Zhang Jingju. He told them to pack their stuff after work that day and meet up at the haunted house in Shanghai the next day. Since Ku Changlin had worked at the haunted house before, Chen Ge did not need to go out of his way to give him the address. He carried his backpack. Due to the suddenness of the incident, Chen Ge only brought most of the red specters and the most dangerous employees with him. I'll temporarily leave the white cat to buy and leave Dr. Skullcracker's jacket with Xiao Jiyu. I'll take the few new outfits with me. Perhaps they will come in handy. Haunted house props like Dr. Skullcracker's hammer would not be able to pass through security, so in the end, Chen Ge decided to find a way to rent a car to go to Shanghai. Taking out his phone, Chen Ge called Li Zheng. "Brother Zheng, I have something to report to you." "What is it that you want to report to me? You make it sound like you're part of the criminal investigation department. If it's not important, we can talk after work. The case at Ju Hong Apartments is not over yet." When Li Zheng received the call from Chen Ge, his heart skipped a beat. "It's like this. A doctor with the surname Fang in Shanghai suddenly went missing. Based on his previous behavior, I suspect that he is in a very dangerous situation." "How would you know about the missing doctor in Shanghai?" This involved a human life, so Li Zheng did not dare be careless. Chen Ge told him how he got to know Dr. Fang and how Zhang Ming needed a cochlear implant surgery. "You're putting me in a difficult position. I can only help you contact the police in Shanghai and tell them the severity of the situation so that they can investigate it." Li Zheng had his own difficulties. He was a police officer from Zhejiang, so he could not simply interfere with a case in Shanghai. "Brother Zheng, can you find someone to go with me to Shanghai? I won't be able to convince the people in Shanghai if I go alone, and they probably won't believe me. That will be a waste of precious time. Perhaps we will miss the best time to save him because of the argument." Chen Ge was telling the truth. If not for the fact that the police in Zhejiang had cooperated with Chen Ge multiple times and knew that Chen Ge had never lied, they would not have trusted Chen Ge so much. A human life was at stake. Li Zheng knew that Chen Ge was not lying. He paused for a long time before saying, "We really can't spare any manpower on our side, but I heard from Captain Yan that Ol. Wu will be sent to Shanghai to carry out a mission this afternoon. You can go with him." "Thank you so much. If I may ask, how did he get to Shanghai?" "He'll take the car from Zhejiang University of Law and Medicine. The mission he is going to carry out appears to be related to one of the teachers from that school. This might not work. I'll go and ask Captain Yan first." Li Zheng hung up. Chen Ge grabbed the two large bags and hailed a cab to head to the medical university. On the way, Li Zheng came with good news. Captain Yan had agreed for Chen Ge and Ol. Wu to take the car from Zhejiang University of Law and Medicine to go to Shanghai. At 1:30 p.m., Chen Ge finally managed to contact Ol. Wu. He placed the two large bags into the trunk, and once he got into the car, he saw Mr. Wang's ghastly face. He had just fainted from being scared by the man before him, and now they were sitting together again. Mr. Wang had a feeling that he did not dare voice his anger. It was as if he was afraid of Chen Ge from the bottom of his heart. "Mr. Wang, allow me to introduce you. This is Chen Ge. He helped us solve the case of the hidden body at the apartment, the case of the hidden body in the abandoned school's well, the case of the random murder at the third mental hospital, the case of Jia Ming's wife's murder." Ol. Wu rattled off a bunch of cases, and Mr. Wang was stunned. "It feels like you two share a good relationship, like your colleagues." Mr. Wang studied Chen Ge again. He could not understand why a haunted house boss would help the police solve so many cases. Could it be that there was a hidden occupation for the boss? More or less. There was 1 week when I met him 6 times. At the time, we had 3 shifts, and the number of times I met my own colleagues was less than the number of times I met him. Ol. Wu had been saved by Chen Ge once before, so he had a good impression of Chen Ge. Captain Yan and Inspector Li have high hopes for him. They often joke that it will be a great loss for the police if the kid runs a haunted house. With Ol. Wu's presence, the atmosphere in the car was not that awkward. After they got on the highway, Chen Ge fell asleep. At around 4 p.m., Ol. Wu first dropped Mr. Wang off at the place that he had arranged for him, and then he drove Chen Ge to find Zhang Ming and his mother. Shanghai was much bigger than Zhejiang. After driving for a long time, Ol. Wu finally found the place. He parked the car outside an old apartment building, and Chen Ge carried the 2 large bags into the building. 202, right? I'll be there in a minute. After hanging up the phone, Chen Ge ran up the stairs and knocked on the door of room 202. It was a big sister who answered the door. Chen Ge had met her at Zhang Ming's home before. She was a kind and generous person. "Chen Ge, big sister knows that you are not a bad person, But the doctor that you recommended has suddenly disappeared. We are very worried. You should find another doctor to operate on Zhang Ming first. Dr. Fang's disappearance is not something that can be explained in a few words. Chen Ge thought about it before adding, have you called the police? No, Dr. Fang did not take our money, so there is no reason for us to call the police. The big sister accompanied Zhang Ming and his mother. She was a nice person. Leave this to me. Chen Ge helped Zhang Ming contact another doctor. After comforting them, he led Wu to the hospital where Dr. Fang was staying. Chen Ge, are you sure Dr. Fang has been killed? It is not convenient for you to carry 2 large bags with you. How about we find a place to stay first? Wu saw the sweat on Chen Ge's forehead, and he knew that Chen Ge was really worried. Dr. Fang has come into contact with the things from that hospital. If we do not go and find him soon, we will not be able to find him anymore. Chen Ge knew that Dr. Fang was a very good doctor, and it was because Dr. Fang was very good in certain fields that he was worried that the cursed hospital would harm Dr. Fang. There are still 3.5 hours before it gets dark. Before that, we have to find out where Dr. Fang has been before he disappeared. Chen Ge's attitude was firm. He was with Wu. Those who did not know would think that he was the police officer and Wu was just the driver. We have to investigate before dark? Do you have anything else to do tonight? Wu asked with confusion as he drove. This city is not safe at night. Xinhai is the city with the best security in the southern part of China. Some of the business districts here are open for 20 hours, and they are known as the city that never sleeps. Wu gripped the steering wheel. You young people should know more about this than I do. Chen Ge smiled but did not explain. 20 minutes later, they arrived at Xinhai Second Hospital. There were 11 tertiary grade A hospitals in Xinhai, and Dr. Fang's second hospital was ranked very high. It was located at the busiest part of Xinhai. Hello, I want to ask about someone. Chen Ge and Wu, who was wearing the police uniform, asked the receptionist. The nurse on duty initially did not want to talk to Chen Ge, but when she saw the uniform that Wu was wearing, her attitude became much better. With the accompaniment of the nurse on duty, Chen Ge came to the ENT department. There was a doctor inside who was examining the patient's body. Dr. Fang has not come to work for many days already, so I do not know the details. The doctor inside is Zhao. He is Dr. Fang's colleague and good friend, so he should know some information. The nurse on duty left after saying that. Chen Ge and Wu waited for Dr. Zhao to finish his examination before they entered the room. Which one of you is the patient? Dr. Zhao was very busy. He had not been resting well recently. The dark circles under his eyes were heavy, and he looked rather lethargic. We are not here to see a doctor. Chen Ge pointed at Wu next to him. This is a frontline officer from the city's investigation unit. He did not mention his own identity, and he did not say that Wu was a police officer from Zhujiang. Everything he said was the truth, but it gave off the impression that they were both from Xinhai's investigation unit. Police? Dr. Zhao realized the severity of the situation. Are you here because of Dr. Fang? Looks like you do know something. Chen Ge sat down on the chair. The real police officer, Wu, stood guard at the door. I've already told the people at the police station about the specific situation yesterday. I didn't expect the criminal police to come today. Could it be that Dr. Fang has really? Dr. Zhao didn't continue, but the meaning he wanted to express was clear to everyone present. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. You just need to tell me what you know. Chen Ge picked up the pen and paper on the table and prepared to take notes. He gave off a very professional vibe. In the past few weeks, Dr. Fang's condition has been very poor. There was also a problem during the surgery, and the number of patients complaining about him has increased. This was almost impossible in the past. Old Fang is our best otolaryngology head and neck doctor. Is Dr. Fang's trance related to his family? Yesterday, I also met Lao Fang's family. His wife and daughter are very normal. They are very worried about him. Oh right, Dr. Zhao suddenly remembered something. I heard from Fang's wife that Fang often mumbles to himself, saying things like, they're here, they're happy, they're already here. They're here? Someone is spying on Dr. Fang? Wu closed the door and walked over. He did not expect to run into such a strange case when he just arrived at Shanghai with Chen Ge. A few days before his disappearance, Fang often stayed up all night. He kept holding a knife and hiding at the window. Occasionally, he would look out the window like there was someone standing outside his home. His wife and daughter were very afraid. They would occasionally look out the window, but there was no one outside. Dr. Zhao sighed. Fang's wife planned to hire a psychiatrist for him, but before the psychiatrist arrived, Fang had already disappeared. Dr. Fang's wife and daughter did not see anyone outside the window, right? Chen Ge wanted to confirm this. Fang's wife did not see anything, but his youngest daughter told the people at the police station yesterday that there was a woman who kept smiling at her home. A woman who kept smiling? Chen Ge's eyes narrowed, and two words appeared in his mind: non-smiling. The people from the police station went to Fang's home, but they could not find the woman. They believed that it was because Fang's daughter was under too much pressure that she was hallucinating. The occurrence of hallucinations is related to certain memories. They should have given it some more thought. Chen Ge did not comment on the police station's actions. He wanted to find Dr. Fang as soon as possible. Dr. Zhao, do you know who was the last person to see Dr. Fang? From the looks of it, it should be me. Dr. Zhao looked haggard. Fang applied for half a month's leave, but a few days ago, before his leave was over, he suddenly came back to work. I saw that he was fine, so I thought he had recovered, so I did not think too much of it. I even arranged to meet him for a few drinks after work. Dr. Fang disappeared at the hospital? From the looks of it, yes. After work, Fang did not return. He locked himself inside his room. I have no idea what he was doing. When I came to work the next day, I received news that Fang had disappeared. Dr. Zhao was regretting his decision. If only I had paid more attention that day. You don't need to blame yourself, this has nothing to do with you. Chen Ge frowned in contemplation. He thought back to the first time he called Dr. Fang. Dr. Fang had mentioned that he was being monitored by the non-smilers. He even said that when the hospital's storeroom was being renovated, he found a letter inside the old storeroom. After opening it, it said that he was told to go to an abandoned hospital at midnight. If he did not go, something bad would happen to him. Dr. Zhao, some time ago, didn't your hospital's storeroom undergo renovations? At the time, did Dr. Fang enter the old storeroom? How did you know that? Dr. Zhao was surprised, but from his perspective, the renovation of the storeroom and Dr. Fang's disappearance were two completely different things. They could not be connected at all. Try to think back. Did Dr. Fang's strange behavior start from the moment he entered the old storeroom? Chen Ge put down the pen in his hand and shoved the note that recorded some information into his pocket. That does seem to be the case. Dr. Zhao's expression became even more shocked. The feeling that Chen Ge gave him was completely different from the one that the officers from yesterday. No wonder you're a detective. You're amazing. If it's convenient, can you bring us to the old storeroom now? Sure, after all, that place is about to be abandoned. Dr. Zhao had a close relationship with Dr. Fang, so he was more than willing to help. After greeting the other doctor, Dr. Zhao led Chen Ge and Wu out of the hospital. The old storeroom is not at the hospital. Chen Ge was confused. A few years ago, our hospital moved, and the old storeroom is still at its original location. Now, I think there are only 1 or 2 independent departments left. 20 minutes later, the three arrived at the original location of the hospital. After getting the key from the management, they entered the old storeroom. The place had just been cleaned. The rows of racks were empty, and there was practically nothing inside the storeroom. When the storeroom was renovated, which area was Dr. Fang responsible for? I think it was the few rooms at the very back. Dr. Zhao took out the key to open the steel door that led deeper into the storeroom. Due to the old electrical circuit, there were no lights inside, and the light was very dim. The nurses who came with him did not dare go in. That day, I think Fang went in alone. These few storerooms are separated by steel doors. Who designed that? I have no idea. The three entered the storeroom and found some things that did not look like they would be used at the hospital, like an old white wedding dress, pairs of shoes that were covered in dust, and so on. In the dimly lit room, the broken old shoes alone had a particularly frightening feeling. I have no idea how these things ended up inside the storeroom. The old man who guarded the storeroom passed away a long time ago, and this place is locked up all year round. If not for the new hospital director's order to renovate the storeroom, I'm afraid no one would know that there are so many shoes inside the hospital's storeroom. Dr. Zhao held the flashlight and the key. He was feeling quite unsettled. There are all kinds of shoes here, and they come in different sizes. Do you think it's possible that one of the hospital's caretakers likes to collect the shoes of dead people? Perhaps he has stolen all the shoes from the patients and stored them at the deepest part of the storeroom, Chen Ge mumbled to himself. He did not notice the darkening expressions on Ol, Wu and Dr. Zhao's faces. That thought of yours, to put it mildly, is quite perverted. Dr. Zhao pointed at the surrounding racks. So many of the shoes on the racks have been worn by dead people? I've realized that the way you investigators think is different from normal people. Ol, Wu scratched his nose. He wanted to say something, but after hearing what Dr. Zhao said, he suddenly did not know what to say. Chen Ge, who walked at the front, did not answer. He walked past 2 rows of racks before suddenly stopping. The shoes on the first few racks are all neatly arranged, so how come only the shoes on this row have fallen down? Someone has fallen down here before. Narrowing his eyes, Chen Ge compared the spot where the shoes had fallen, and he had a general idea of what had happened. There was a person who was about the same height as me. He saw something at the spot where I was standing, and he was spooked. His body knocked into the rack, and his shoes fell apart. Chen Ge had a very sharp observation ability. Just from the spot where the shoes fell, he was able to deduce many things. The thing that scared the victim should have suddenly appeared behind him. When he turned around, he lost his balance and knocked into the rack. Chen Ge locked onto a direction and walked toward it. His yin-yang vision scanned the racks on both sides, and he soon discovered something. What is this? There was a small ball of paper hidden at a very inconspicuous spot at the bottom of the rack. Chen Ge opened it, and there was only one sentence written on it. Do not enter the last storage room. Dr. Zhao, can you take a look and see if this is Dr. Fang's handwriting? Chen Ge handed the paper to Dr. Zhao, and the latter shook his head after reading it. It is not Dr. Fang's handwriting, but it appeared at the spot where Dr. Fang's accident happened. In other words, someone kindly warned Dr. Fang before he entered the storage room, but unfortunately, he did not pay attention to it. Chen Ge took the paper back. This was a very important clue, and he had to keep it for himself. Dr. Zhao, can you still remember the people who entered the storage room with Dr. Fang that day? Yes. Among them, did anyone have the same handwriting as the one on the paper? I don't think so. The handwriting of a doctor is rather sloppy. It's a habit of writing prescriptions. Dr. Zhao confirmed it multiple times, and in the end, he said that the paper was not written by Dr. Fang's colleague. Was it not someone from the hospital? Chen Ge frowned. After a while, he suddenly asked, to enter the storage room, one has to get the key from the management first. Could this paper have been given to Dr. Fang by someone from the management? After failing to find any more clues in the old storage room, Chen Ge took the paper and hurried back to the management. After comparing the handwriting, Chen Ge realized that the handwriting on the paper was very similar to the handwriting of one of the storage room's managers. The manager's surname was Kai, and it was a very rare surname. Chen Ge put the paper away. Looking at the picture of the worker on the wall, he asked loudly, "Excuse me, is Kai Ren around?" Brother Ren applied for leave a few days ago. Do you have any business with him? The manager also thought that Chen Ge and Ol, Wu were from Xinhai's criminal investigation unit, so their attitude was very kind. Hearing that Kai Ren had not come to work for several days, Chen Ge immediately had a bad feeling in his heart. Can you tell me where Kai Ren is staying? We wish to go and ask him some questions in person. The manager hesitated for a while before giving Chen Ge the address of Kai Ren's rented apartment. Brother Ren is quite a loner. He basically does not talk to strangers. Be prepared for the door to be shut in your face. The manager also had a bitter smile on his face when he mentioned Kai Ren. Does he have any strange habits, or has he done some strange things before? There is nothing strange about that. By the way, Brother Ren lives alone. He does not have any family, but occasionally, he will talk to himself. He mumbles some very scary terms like eating hands, eyes, nose, and so on. Just the mention of these terms made the manager feel uncomfortable. One time, I asked him why he kept saying these things, and he told me that those scary terms were all the names of his family. His family sure is strange. There was still half of the sentence that Chen Ge did not say. He had a feeling that this family with the surname Kai might have some kind of connection with the non-smilers. After obtaining a useful clue, Chen Ge had Dr. Zhao go back first. He and Ol Wu went to the apartment that Kai Ren rented. They knocked for a long time, but no one answered the door. In the end, it was the landlord who came out to tell them that Kai Ren had not been home for several days. The landlord also revealed a very important piece of information to Chen Ge. When Kai Ren left the apartment for the last time, he was carrying a large backpack. It was filled with water and various kinds of food. It was as if he had predicted danger and was going somewhere to seek refuge. If my speculation is not wrong, Kai Ren wrote a note to Dr. Fang to save Dr. Fang, but he failed. He was afraid that the non-smilers would come after him, so he ran away that night. From Chen Ge's perspective, even though this Kai Ren had a strange name, he should be a good person on the whole. To find Dr. Fang, we had to start with Kai Ren. Chen Ge had Ol Wu reveal his identity to the landlord, and the two of them entered the apartment to take a look. Kai Ren had left in a hurry. The food on the table was not even finished. Clothes were strewn all over the sofa, and the drawers were left open. The room was a mess like it had been burglarized. Did Kai Ren tell you where he was going? No, but he has been on the phone recently. It seems like he wants someone to take him in for a while. In between, he even got into a big argument with the person on the phone. The landlord pointed at the wall. The soundproofing of an old apartment is not that good. Even though Kai Ren looks like an honest man normally, he can be quite scary when he's angry. Then, did you hear any important names or places? Chen Ge's expression was serious. They did mention a deli called Shi Li Shang, and the owner's surname seems to be Kai as well. The information that the landlord could provide was limited. During the conversation, Chen Ge had silently released Meng Nan. While they were chatting, Meng Nan had searched the whole room, but he did not find anything. After leaving the apartment, Ol Wu drove Chen Ge to Shi Li Shang. The shop was located on the busiest street in Xinhai, Century Avenue. Coincidentally, Shangguan Qinghong's haunted house was near Century Avenue as well. The two shops belonged to the same business district. Century Avenue's business district is brightly lit 24 hours a day, and it is very popular. It is not a bad place to hide. In a place with so many people, it was very inconvenient for a specter to move around. Even a red specter would be affected. Brother Wu, after you drop me off at the deli, you don't have to worry about me anymore. I have troubled you today. When we are free, I will definitely treat you to a meal. Will you be fine on your own? This is Xinhai. You are not familiar with the place, so you do not dare do anything dangerous on your own. Ol Wu gave his phone number to Chen Ge. If you run into any trouble, give me a call. I will try my best to help you. Thank you. Ol Wu was accompanying Mr. Wang. He still had a mission to complete, so he could not stay with Chen Ge for too long. However, the fact that he was willing to escort Chen Ge to Xinhai was already enough to earn Chen Ge's gratitude. Carrying two big bags, Chen Ge went straight to Ten Li Shang Deli. The shop was not big, but there were many customers. There was a long queue at the door. Business is booming. After a whole 15 minutes, it was Chen Ge's turn. He looked at the variety of cooked food inside the window and smelled the aroma. Boss, how come your cooked food smells so much better than others? My family has a secret sauce that has been passed down from my ancestors. This taste is unique in the world. The boss was a big fatty, and he looked very funny. I'll have a little of everything. I'm a meat lover. As Chen Ge spoke, he had been secretly observing the boss and the staff. He didn't notice any problems. This seemed to be a very normal deli. After paying, Chen Ge left with a large bag of cooked food. The sky was already dark, but the street was still full of cars. If anything, it became even more crowded. Xinhai is a big city after all. Carrying the two bags and the bag of cooked food, Chen Ge found Shangguan Qinghong's haunted house at the corner of the street. Compared to the main street, there were indeed fewer people here. The last time I was here, this was someone else's haunted house. Just as Chen Ge entered the haunted house, an employee came to greet him passionately, but when she saw Chen Ge's face, she instantly took several steps back. Chen Ge, the female employee, had a deep impression of Chen Ge. Her boss had been hospitalized twice because of this scary man before her. In the future, you have to call me boss. New Century Park has already bought this place. Chen Ge took out a document from his backpack. Go and call all the employees who are free. I have something to tell you. The nemesis had become the new boss, and the employees in the lobby all had dark expressions on their faces. They looked at Chen Ge like they were looking at a big villain in a television drama. He had forced the poor into a corner, and he still refused to give up. Don't just stand there, hurry up and go. Chen Ge did not intend to bully these employees. Even though it was this haunted house that had provoked him first, he was a very forgiving person. He did not mind the small things that had happened in the past. 10 minutes later, a few employees in ghost makeup rushed out from the scenario. Including the cashier and the worker responsible for water and electricity, there were 5 employees standing in the lobby. Why are there only a few of you? Where are the others? Are you trying to scare me? In Chen Ge's memory, there were at least 10 employees at this haunted house. The number of visitors is dwindling, and we can't pay our salaries. Combined with the ghost rumors, many people have chosen to leave, the female employee said softly. The female employee said in a low voice, due to the lack of manpower, we're opening up the 2 most popular sub-scenes. He has occupied such a good location, but the number of visitors is dwindling. Looks like Shangguan Qinghong really needs to reflect. Chen Ge looked at the remaining 5 employees. Shangguan Qinghong has already sold this place to me. If you are willing to continue working here, I welcome you with open arms, but if not, I will pay you back the salary that Shangguan Qinghong owes you, and we will part on good terms. Hearing Chen Ge say that he would pay them back, the remaining 5 employees were tempted. In the end, including the female receptionist, 4 of them chose to leave. Chen Ge paid their salaries on the spot. You don't need to come tomorrow. I hope you can find a better job. After that, the 4 employees removed their makeup and left. Only Chen Ge and a female employee were left in the large haunted house. Why didn't you leave with them? Chen Ge looked at the female employee and felt that she looked familiar. I normally stay here. If I leave, I won't even have a place to stay. You should have saved up a lot of money after working for so long, right? How come you don't even have a place to rent? When Chen Ge said that, he seemed to have forgotten that he also stayed at a haunted house. My younger brother's health is not that good. He needs treatment and school, so the expenses are high. I try to save as much as I can, the female employee said softly. She seemed to be very afraid of Chen Ge, but for the sake of her salary and a place to stay, she forced herself to stay where she was. Is your family in trouble? Chen Ge nodded. Add me on WeChat first, and I will pay you back the salary that Shangguan Qinghong owes you. In the future, you can stay here to work. Thank you, boss. Haven't we met before? I have a feeling that you look very familiar. My name is Hu Dai, but everyone calls me Xiao Dai. When you came here to visit last time, we played the pen spirit game, the female employee replied softly. So, it's you. I almost couldn't recognize you without the makeup. Chen Ge was reminded of this girl. At the time, he had played the pen spirit game with Xiao Dai. During the second round, he had taken out the ballpoint pen that contained the real pen spirit, and at the time, Xiao Dai had fainted from fear. To prevent the awkwardness, Chen Ge changed the topic. Everyone says that our haunted house is really haunted. You've experienced it yourself, so why do you insist on working here? Aren't you afraid? There is nothing in the world that scares me more than being poor. Xiao Dai clasped her hands together. She did not seem to come from a good family. Don't think about those unhappy things. Work hard. I can't guarantee that you'll be rich in the future, but at least your salary will be doubled. Chen Ge did not like empty promises. What he said was something that he could do. The employee benefits here are much better than what you had before. You'd better find a place to stay. It's not that I'm chasing you away, but after my last visit, I realized that there is indeed something wrong with your haunted house. Chen Ge stared into Xiao Dai's eyes. There seems to be something unclean here at night. For your safety, I'd advise you to move out. Xiao Dai nodded, and she looked quite pitiful. Come on, bring me around the haunted house. I was in a hurry last time, and there are many scenarios that I haven't visited. Chen Ge and Xiao Dai entered the haunted house, and they only saw a few scenarios when Xiao Dai's phone suddenly rang. Seeing the caller ID, Xiao Dai walked to the side with embarrassment and answered the call. Big sister, where are you? Can I stay at your place for the night? A boy's voice came from the other end of the phone, and he sounded like he was about to cry. Xiao Dai was troubled. Chen Ge had just told her that she could not stay there, and she did not know how to answer her little brother. Aren't you supposed to stay at the school? Why did you sneak out? I really can't stay there anymore. Did they bully you again? Xiao Dai was angry. Big sister, stop asking. I'm now at the entrance of your haunted house. Just let me stay here for the night. The boy begged desperately. Xiao Dai looked at Chen Ge helplessly. Before she could say anything, Chen Ge nodded in agreement. No problem, we can let him stay here for the night, but this is not a long-term solution. You'd better find out why he doesn't want to stay at the school. Thank you, boss. Xiao Dai hung up and ran out of the scenario with Chen Ge. There was a thin high schooler with very pale skin standing in the lobby. He had a narrow frame, and there were wounds on his face. He was holding a pair of glasses that had been stepped on. Why did you come here on your own? When Xiao Dai saw the high schooler, she hurried over. She took out a wet towel from under the counter and helped the high schooler wipe the dust off his shirt and arms. I'll go find some bandages. Stay here and don't wander off. After Xiao Dai left, only Chen Ge and the high schooler were left in the lobby. Can your school allow students to leave at will at night? Chen Ge placed the 2 large bags that he was carrying on the seat and filled 2 glasses of water. He held one for himself and placed the other before the high schooler. The male student did not accept the glass of water that Chen Ge passed to him. He did not seem to like Chen Ge that much. Are you my big sister's colleague? Why are there only the 2 of you here today? Why can't I? Chen Ge took a sip of the water in the glass and smiled. The presence of the 2 was not on the same level. Xiao Dai's younger brother stood where he was. Holding the glasses that had been stepped on, he did not say a word. Moments later, Xiao Dai ran over with the haunted house's first aid kit and treated her little brother's wounds. Xiao Dai asked her brother many times what had happened, but her brother refused to tell her. After dealing with his wounds, her brother carried his bag and walked into the haunted house. He seemed to know where the staff break room was. This was probably not the first time he had come to the haunted house to seek refuge. Hu Yuan. Wait a minute. Xiao Dai shouted twice before the high schooler stopped moving. I don't want to say anything. Can you stop asking me? Hu Yuan's emotions were fluctuating, and it was clear that he was in great pain. This is the new boss of Nightmare Academy, Chen Ge. If you want to stay at the haunted house, you have to at least get his permission. That is basic courtesy. Xiao Dai dragged Hu Yuan to Chen Ge's side. He can stay here, but what will hiding here for one night change? Chen Ge walked to stand before Hu Yuan. Fear will not disappear just because you avoid it. Sooner or later, you will have to face it. Why don't you tell me so that your sister and I can help you? Ever since he obtained the black phone, Chen Ge had encountered many problematic children and had accumulated a wealth of experience. With his constant guidance, Hu Yuan finally told the truth. There were 4 students in his dormitory, and the other 3 ganged up to bully him. Normally, he would endure it, but that afternoon, after school, the 3 had slipped him a letter. Hu Yuan refused to accept it, and the 3 had started to tease his sister. In the end, Hu Yuan had gotten into a fight with the 3. The weak Hu Yuan was naturally no match for the 3. After being beaten up, he did not want to return to the dormitory anymore, so he had run to his sister's place. It was a typical case of school bullying. Xiao Dai was very angry, and she wanted to go find the teacher tomorrow. They wanted to give you a letter? Chen Ge picked up on something weird. Did you take the letter in the end? Cao Fei shoved the letter into my hands. Initially, I planned to throw it away, but when I saw the content of the letter, I hesitated. Hu Yuan took out a letter from his bag. I think you guys should stop reading it. I'll figure out a way to deal with it. Actually, Chen Ge did not pay much attention to it, But when he saw the envelope, his pupils narrowed. There was a dark stain on the surface of the letter. It was left behind by dried blood. Why would there be human blood on the letter? Chen Ge held the letter in his hand. Ignoring Hu Yuan's resistance, he opened it. Other than several strands of hair of different lengths, there was a patient's record. The patient's name was not written on the paper, but someone had written a few sentences on the back with a red ballpoint pen. Please cut off a strand of your hair and place it inside the envelope. Then, hand this letter to someone else. If you do not hand this letter to someone else before dark, I will appear at your home at 4:44 a.m. If you still do not hand this letter to someone else within 3 days, I will appear before you at 4:44 a.m. A cursed envelope? That's so childish. Chen Ge looked at the strands of hair inside the envelope, and he knew that many people had already touched this envelope. Why don't you return the letter to me? I heard from Cao Fei that he really did see something last night. Hu Yuan reached out to grab the envelope, but Chen Ge moved away from him. At your age, the most important thing is to focus on your studies. You don't have to worry about anything else. Chen Ge patted Hu Yuan on his shoulder. The person who handed you this letter is called Cao Fei, right? Yes. He lives on campus like you. What are you planning to do? Hu Yuan was confused as he turned to look at his sister. Xiao Dai had no idea what Chen Ge was planning to do. I plan to appear next to his bed at 4:44 a.m. tonight. Chen Ge put the envelope away with a smile. I'm just kidding. Why don't you go inside and rest first? His expression was relaxed and natural. Chen Ge had Xiao Dai show him around all the scenarios, and then he locked himself inside the headmaster's office. Nightmare Academy's facilities are better than haunted houses. Just these props alone are worth quite a lot. Chen Ge flipped through the comic and had the few red specters search every corner of the haunted house. After confirming that there was no danger, he finally relaxed. There are 2 things I need to do tonight. Investigate the delicatessen and find out the source of the cursed envelope. Chen Ge had seen many patients' records before, but this was the first time he had seen a blank patient's record without a name or a picture. After midnight, I'll go find Cao Fei. If I go through them one by one, I'm sure I'll be able to find the source of the curse. Chen Ge placed his legs on the headmaster's desk and changed into a more comfortable position. The school is a place for learning. Those who have ill intentions toward the students are unforgivable. At 11 p.m., the lights at the male dormitory of Xinhai No. 1 High School went dark. The 3 male students from room 408 had closed the doors and windows before the lights went out. They were lying in their beds. "OL, Sao, are you sure you saw 5 people in the dormitory last night?" There was a student with a muscular build sitting on the second bed next to the window. He was wearing a basketball jersey, and there was a poster of a famous basketball player pasted on the wall next to the bed. "Why would I lie to you?" The student in the first bed was topless. There were 2 emergency lights placed next to the pillow, and there was a pendant made of jade around his neck. Initially, I also thought that the cursed letter was a joke, so I did not think it was a big deal. Who would have thought there really was an extra person in the dormitory last night? Cao Fei, who was in the first bed, pointed at the window next to the second bed. The man's face was stuck to the window. I saw him open the balcony door with my own eyes and enter the room. Throughout the whole process, he kept looking at me. Then, doesn't that mean he was standing next to my bed? F***ck. Why didn't you scream for help? I wanted to say something, but no sound came out. Do you know how it feels to be held down by ghosts? Cao Fei kept gesturing with his hands. Can you describe the man's appearance in detail? The tall and thin student in the third bed removed his glasses and rubbed his eyes. His name was written on the textbook next to his bed, Tian Yuan. I can't remember it clearly. I just feel like it's a person. He kept looking at me and slowly walked toward me. Cao Fei said as he switched on the emergency lights. Brothers, do you mind if I sleep with the lights on tonight? Look at how cowardly you are. I think you've done too many bad things that you've started to scare yourself. Tian Yuan picked up the book next to him and started to read again. He was a very hard-working student, but he was also a bully. Speaking of which, who gave you that cursed letter? Did someone decide to sue you because they couldn't stand you? It was my girlfriend who received the letter. I was afraid that she would be scared, so I asked for the letter. Who knew the content of the letter would actually appear? The light from the emergency lights shone on Cao Fei's face. Once he was reminded of this, his forehead started to sweat. You were the first to rush forward when we were trying to be a hero, and now you're suffering. You've implicated all of us. You're really something. The male student in the jersey on bed number 1 said sourly, "Hey, when can I find a girlfriend? Don't girls like athletic guys nowadays?" Brother Zhuang, I did not drag you into this. The letter has been given to Hu Yuan. He is not in the dormitory anymore, so the ghost should have followed him home. Cao Fei whispered, when he comes to class tomorrow, we'll try to sound him out and scare him. We'll try to keep him away from the dormitory for the next few days. We'll make sure that the ghost stays at his place. What if he insists on coming back? Tian Yuan put on his glasses again. I'm afraid that weakling won't dare to resist. Even if he does, what can he do? Cao Fei looked down on Hu Yuan. The only thing I like about him is that his sister is quite pretty. What time is it? Go to sleep. Turn off the lights. Someone knocked on the dormitory door, and the dormitory manager yelled from outside. The people in the room quickly turned off the lights. After the manager left, Cao Fei used the blanket to cover the emergency light and whispered, I'm not going to sleep tonight. I'll keep my phone on so that I can take a picture of the ghost. Good luck. Remember to wake us up when you get it. The dormitory became quiet, and no one spoke. Cao Fei used the blanket to cover his head and started to chat with his girlfriend. A young couple in love always had many things to talk about. Before they knew it, it was already midnight. Looking at the battery on his phone, Cao Fei prepared to say goodnight to his girlfriend. There was no place to charge his phone at their high school dormitory, so he would have to wait until the next day to charge it in the classroom. His finger moved on the screen. Before Cao Fei could type out the word goodnight, he heard a strange sound in his ears. It sounded like the door to the room was moving. He immediately pulled back the blanket and looked at the door. The door was closed, and there was nothing out of the ordinary. He looked around. The room was very quiet, so quiet that he could hear his roommates breathing and his own heartbeat. Brother Zhuang, Brother Yuan? Are all of you asleep? There was no reply. Cao Fei used the blanket to cover his head again. This time, only his eyes were exposed. The phone kept flickering. His girlfriend had sent him a new message. Cao Fei felt strangely afraid. At that moment, the only person he could communicate with was his girlfriend. Cao Fei, why aren't you talking? Are you asleep? Stay with me for a while longer. I'm a bit scared. Xiao Lu, our dormitory has suddenly become so quiet. Even the sound of the mosquitoes has disappeared. This is so weird. Don't scare me, have you delivered the cursed letter? I've delivered it to someone in our dormitory. He is not in the dormitory tonight. As Cao Fei typed, he suddenly heard a strange sound in his ears. It sounded like the faucet had not been turned off, and water droplets fell to the ground. Then it should be fine. Don't worry, the curse has already reached someone else. Hopefully. After Cao Fei replied to the message, his eyes moved away from the screen and glanced at the window. Once his eyes moved over, his gaze froze. There was a face outside the balcony. He blinked, and in the blink of an eye, the face was already stuck to the glass of the window. Blood slid down the glass, and the doorknob that led from the balcony to the dormitory started to turn on its own. Cao Fei's hands gripped the phone tightly, and his heart raced. His limbs were cold, and he felt like he was suffocating. The balcony door that was locked from the inside was slowly opened, and the temperature inside the room dropped. Following the sound of dripping, a man in a red shirt who was completely drenched appeared inside the dormitory room. He walked closer and closer. Cao Fei's expression was twisted, but his body was unable to react at all. The blood slid down, and the stench of blood rushed into his nostrils. The wet hair stuck to his face, and an eyeball that only had the whites of the eyes stared at Cao Fei through the gap between the black hair. Why? I've already delivered the cursed letter. Why would the ghost still appear? Cao Fei's heart felt like it was being squeezed by a pair of hands, and his eyes widened to their limit. As the water dripped down, a hoarse voice came out from the black hair. Why do you always bully me? Every time Cao Fei blinked, the figure would appear closer to him. Why would you give me that letter? The soaked body leaned against the side of the bed, and the eyes that were filled with the whites of the eyes stared at Xiao Fei. Why would you scold my big sister? Why won't you let me go? Why? Why? The tone was crazed, and the soaked red shirt leaned in front of Xiao Fei's face. The wet black hair stuck to Xiao Fei's face, and the pale face stared into Xiao Fei's eyes. Why do you want to kill me? You are who Yuan? His body pressed against the bed. Xiao Fei's body was cold, and the whites of his eyes rolled upward. This scene had already exceeded his psychological limit. His body collapsed on the bed, and a horrible stench of urine filled the air. When you are bullying the weak, you are like a demon, but when you run into a real demon, you are not even as good as the person you are bullying. The red specter, who was soaked, picked up Xiao Fei's phone and glanced at the message. What are you doing? Why did you suddenly stop replying to my messages? Are you still worried about the cursed letter? As long as you deliver the letter to someone else, the curse will not come to find you. Don't worry, the curse will only kill the last unlucky person. Both of us will be fine. Looking at the messages, the red-clothed ghostly figure revealed a ferocious smile. It was almost 1 a.m. Her roommates had all gone to bed, but Zhang Lu still kept the emergency lights on like no one was around. She propped her feet on the table and stuck something on her fingernails as she stared at the phone screen. Why isn't there a message? Zhang Lu's fingers slid across the screen and typed. Don't worry, the curse will only kill the last unlucky person. The darkened screen suddenly lit up. Xiao Fei had finally replied to her message. Where are you now? Zhang Lu was confused, and she replied, I'm at the dormitory, what's wrong? I'm coming to find you now. Now? Zhang Lu glanced at the time on her phone and typed a few random words. Stop joking, it's already 1 a.m. I've already left the male dormitory, you're really coming? I'm already downstairs. But the door to the female dormitory is already locked, right? I'm already on the first floor. First floor. Zhang Lu looked at the messages that came one after another. The frequency of them increasing, and she felt strangely unsettled. Xiao Fei, stop messing with me. I'm already on the second floor. I'm already at the corner of the third floor. I'm already at the door to your dormitory. The messages on the phone gave off a creepy feeling. Zhang Lu gripped the phone, and she had a feeling that the person who sent the messages was not Xiao Fei. When Xiao Fei was chatting with me, there was a long time where he didn't reply. He said that he had run into a ghost. The more Zhang Lu thought about it, the more afraid she became. She prepared to wake up the rest of the dormitory, but no one answered her. After about 10 seconds, there were no more messages on the phone. Zhang Lu looked at the phone screen and silently approached the door. She used all her courage to slowly push the door open. Inside the dark corridor, the cold wind blew, and there was nothing outside. It really is a prank. Zhang Lu bit on her lips. She was so scared that her face was white. She angrily sent a voice message to Xiao Fei. Is it fun to scare me like that? Where are you now? Moments later, Zhang Lu received another message on her phone. Look behind you. Zhang Lu slowly turned around, and a pale face appeared behind her. Why do you want to kill me? After hanging up, Wei Liji cursed under his breath and then walked into the apartment's bathroom. There are so many rich people in the world, so why can't I? He seemed to have drunk a lot, and he sat on the toilet dizzily. He looked at the chat history on WeChat. Extorting a high school student won't earn much money, and part of it will be taken by Sao Meng. F***ck. You give me that look every day. Do you really think you're the boss? One day, I'll climb over your head, and I'll toy with you until you die. At this point, Wei Liji suddenly felt a weight on his neck. He lifted his head blurrily and realized that the man in the red shirt was standing on top of his head. Blood slid down his shirt. Wei Liji blinked, and he was woken up from the shock. Who gave you this cursed letter? Sao Meng. The man did not even bother to put on his pants. He leapt into the air and rammed directly into the bathroom door. He ran to the living room, but his legs were hid by his pants. The sound of blood dripping entered his ears. He crawled toward the door until his head knocked into something. He lifted his head to look, and a fat man with an exaggerated build was reaching for his face. Help! Help! Wu Sao Meng, who was having a good time at the nightclub, suddenly received a call from Wei Liji. He could not hear what the other person was saying, so he walked into the bathroom alone. If you have something to say, just say it. He waited impatiently. Just as he was about to hang up, a strange voice came from the other end of the phone. Why did you give me that cursed letter? What letter? Do you want me to die? Wei Liji, I'm F*C King telling you. I do want you to die. What are you going to do about it? You've grown up, haven't you? Cao Meng hung up directly. His mind was still thinking about the girl who had danced with him earlier. Grabbing the bathroom door handle, Cao Meng was about to leave when a pale hand suddenly appeared on the door handle. F*CK. Cao Meng looked to the side, but there was nothing around him. Did I drink too much? Just as he was wondering, he heard a soft sound coming from inside the bathroom. It sounded like a woman's voice. Cao Meng slowly approached the door. Just as Cao Meng was about to reach it, the door opened, and a calf that was so white that it was almost bloodless was revealed. A woman has run into the male bathroom at the nightclub. Cao Meng's mind started to get excited. Using the alcohol, he stared closely at the slender calf. Just as his eyes were glued to it, a beautiful head fell to the side of the calf. His body stopped moving. At that moment, Cao Meng felt like his heart had stopped beating. His mind was blank, and he collapsed to the ground. At 4:40 a.m., after Lan Xiaochen wrote a bad review for a horror movie, he started to argue with the fans of the movie with a smile on his face. This was the happiest time of his day. The pressure that he had accumulated during the day was released at that moment. He liked to see other people angry because they could not reach him through the internet. Someone as busy as me can use my precious time to give you a review, and you people are still not satisfied? Lan Xiaochen scolded until he was muted by the admin. Then Lan Xiaochen slammed heavily on the keyboard. Such cowards, but that's fine. He chuckled coldly and created a few more alt accounts to start cursing in the movie review section. He used the worst language to curse. How I wish my curse can become a reality and ruin the thing that this bunch of trash values. Lan Xiaochen stared at the admin's ID on the screen. Seeing that all the alt accounts and comments had been deleted, he took out an envelope from the drawer. There is only one letter left. I wonder if there is any use in just writing an ID. Time slowly passed. At 4:14 a.m., Lan Xiaochen stuffed the letter that he had written into the envelope. But before he could seal the envelope, all the lights in the room suddenly went out. The power went out. The street light outside the window shone into the room. Using the weak light, Lan Xiaochen noticed that there were several shadows moving inside his room. The heavy smell of blood permeated the air, and for some reason, the room that was quite spacious suddenly became crowded. The cold light from the computer screen lit up the surroundings. Lan Xiaochen stood before the computer table with the envelope in his hand and slowly turned around. Who's there? Come out! He, who had always prided himself on his bravery, shouted at the living room, but the only reply he got was the sound of static. In the empty living room, the television was suddenly switched on, and black and white snowflakes appeared on the screen. Lan Xiaochen picked up the badminton racket next to the study table and slowly moved toward the living room. It was unclear whether it was a psychological effect or something else, but he suddenly felt like this scene was very familiar. A barely discernible crying came from one of the corners of the room, and the computer suddenly started to play the horror movie that he had just watched. The scene that Lan Xiaochen thought was too vulgar played again and again. When the main character was using the computer to watch the horror movie, the scene in the horror movie was happening in his own home. The familiar conversation came from the computer speakers. The rapid breathing and nervous tone kept stimulating Lan Xiaochen's brain. He only felt pain when the needle poked into his body. Even though he was unwilling to admit it, he was indeed afraid. Come out! A sense of helplessness surged into his brain. Lan Xiaochen screamed at the living room, as if raising his voice would give him courage. He turned his back on the computer screen and moved to the door between the living room and the bedroom. He realized that there was a bloody handprint on the doorknob of his own bedroom door, like someone had opened the door from inside his home. At that moment, the horror movie in the computer had reached its climax. The main character realized that the ghost from the horror movie had run into his home. When he wanted to run away from this home, he suddenly realized that the door was locked. After seeing the bloody handprint on the doorknob, Lan Xiaochen instantly realized that someone had run into his home, and it was no longer safe there. He moved slowly, and when he was close to the door, he suddenly accelerated. But when he grabbed the doorknob with both hands, he realized that no matter how hard he tried, he could not open the door. Fear had drowned out his rationality. He thought that he was very brave, and he often mocked the fans of horror movies online, but this was the first time that he had felt fear. How can it not open? He shook the door with all his might, but the door did not budge at all. However, blood started to leak out from the gap of the door. The main character on the computer screen had nowhere to go, so he took out his phone to ask for help from the main character. In real life, Lan Xiaochen also took out his phone in a hurry. He did not have any friends, so he could only ask for help from the police. The scene on the screen was almost synchronized with what was happening in reality, and the result was shockingly similar. The call was quickly connected, and an unfamiliar voice came from the other side of the phone. "You can't escape." Blood and pale faces started to appear in the room. Many figures dressed in red surrounded Lan Xiaochen, who had been paralyzed with fear. At this moment, Lan Xiaochen, who had been running amok on the internet, was trembling. White foam was coming out of the corner of his mouth, and he was subconsciously calling for his mother. A boy in red dragged Lan Xiaochen to the side. He opened the door, and there was a young man carrying a backpack standing outside the door. "He is the source of the curse? Not even a red specter?" The young man entered the room and closed the front door. I was happy for nothing. Sitting on the sofa, the young man took out a comic book from his backpack and flipped through it. "Wake him up, I have something to ask him." A basin of blood was poured over Lan Xiaochen's head. It was as if he had been thrown into an ice cave. He immediately waved his hands and screamed for help. "Chen Ge, why don't you just let Zhang Yi look through his memory? What's the point of doing that?" Meng Nan clamped his hand over Lan Xiaochen's mouth. He looked at the white foam that stuck to his hand, and he felt disgusted. Zhang Yi's power is to hide and erase part of his memory. If this man's memory has been tampered with, Zhang Yi will not be able to tell. To prevent ourselves from being misled, we should be more cautious. Chen Ge was more cautious. He wanted to help the young man remember first. "Hey, I will ask you a few questions next. I hope you will answer them honestly. If I find out that you are lying, I will let you know how painful it is to be alive." His mind slightly cleared up, and Lan Xiaochen half collapsed to the ground. He used the last bit of energy that was left in his body to nod. Just from the tone of his voice, one could tell that the young man before him was a vicious person. Lan Xiaochen might not be afraid of anyone on the internet, but in real life, he was a complete loser. "Who gave you the blank cursed letter that you took out from the drawer?" "I stole it. It was from an abandoned hospital room." Lan Xiaochen placed the letter on the ground with shaking hands. "This belongs to you, right? I will not do it again. Please forgive me." Quote. "With your courage, you dared to sneak into an abandoned hospital to steal something?" Chen Ge was very suspicious. "I made a bet with someone online that I would go to that hospital to spend the night with them. I was just joking, but who knew they would really come to Shanghai? I could not hide from them, so I followed them to the hospital." "Where is the hospital?" "The hospital is located in the countryside of Shanghai. The place has not been developed much, and it is very deserted." Lan Xiaochen sounded like he was about to cry. There were 3 of them in total, and they were all visitors from Zhejiang. That place has a strong culture. I have no idea how they trained themselves to be so brave. "You went in?" Chen Ge did not expect the visitors from Zhejiang to appear in a ghost story in Shanghai. "I was the first to run in, but when I left their sight, I immediately went into hiding. After they all entered, I ran out again." Lan Xiaochen was a person who did not have a bottom line. To put it more bluntly, he was a scumbag. Did the visitors come out in the end? Chen Ge was more concerned about the safety of the visitors. "I don't know. I stood guard outside for half an hour, and there was no movement from inside the hospital at all. It was like the 3 of them were eaten by something." Lan Xiaochen's voice was stuttering. He was still very afraid of Chen Ge. The place was very scary at night. "I did not dare stay too long and ran back on my own. However, I went back to take a look at noon the next day. In the end, I found one of the visitors' wallets at the corner of the lobby. All the documents inside were gone. There were only 3 blank patients' records and a piece of paper." "Did you call the police after that?" "No, I believe they must have left on their own. They did not go missing, and their bodies were not found. There was no reason for me to call the police. Lan Xiaochen was trying to convince himself. Where are the 3 blank patients' records and the piece of paper now? Chen Ge's face was dark. The atmosphere in the room was very tense. I used 2 of the patient's records, and the last one is inside the envelope. Lan Xiaochen shrunk his neck. Initially, I did not know that the patient's records could really curse people. That day, the neighbor's dog kept barking, so I gave it a try. I did not expect that the whole family would fall sick, and the dog would die as well. Earlier, you said that other than the 3 patients' records, there was a piece of paper. Show me the piece of paper. Quote. Lan Xiaochen originally wanted to use the piece of paper to negotiate, but he realized that he did not have the courage to say anything. The piece of paper is inside the locked drawer in the bedroom, and the key is inside my pocket. Meng Nan took out the key and entered the bedroom. Moments later, he handed the piece of paper to Chen Ge. Instead of a piece of paper, it was actually a page that had been torn out from a book. There was a dark blood stain on it. If one looked closer, one would realize that the blood stain was actually a sentence, "This is a sickened world. Why haven't you realized that? I will definitely cure you." Single quote. These few simple words seemed to contain a kind of special power. It would give the reader a strange feeling like these few words were written for them. A sickened world? In my opinion, you should focus on curing yourself first. Chen Ge used his yin-yang vision to study the words on the paper. The more he looked at them, the stranger he felt. The black blood stain was clearly layered, like someone was using the same blood to write the same words at the same spot. It looks like a notification letter, but it also looks like some kind of hint. Could it be left behind by the doctors from the cursed hospital? But why would this piece of paper be placed together with the 3 blank patients' records? Quote. Chen Ge had crossed paths with the cursed hospital many times, but this was the first time he had encountered a blank patient's records. This was not something that could be found easily. I have told you everything that I know. Lan Xiaochen lowered his voice. Can you? I can give you a quick death. Chen Ge waved his hand, and Zhang Yi crawled into Lan Xiaochen's head. A living person crawled into the body through the head. This kind of scary scene was something that Chen Ge had gotten used to. As for whether Lan Xiaochen found it scary or not, that was not important. After all, when Zhang Yi left, he would wipe away part of his memory. 10 seconds later, Zhang Yi crawled out from Lan Xiaochen's body, and all the red shadows in the room slowly disappeared. The television screen was switched off, and everything returned to normal. However, the world had lost a keyboard warrior and gained a young man who loved life. Lan Xiaochen did not lie, but part of his memory is very blurry. I cannot see it clearly. Zhang Yi followed beside Chen Ge. The group walked in the shadows of the city. Which part? Be it the first time he entered the hospital or the second time, all the scenes were very blurry. In fact, it was possible that he felt like he had entered the hospital, but in reality, he was not. Zhang Yi gestured with his hands. I feel like the other party also has a presence that can control memory, and it is much more powerful than me. There is someone from the cursed hospital who can control memory. Looks like I will have to figure out a way to turn you into a red specter first. A half-red specter like you is no longer enough to deal with the current situation. The more unique a specter's power was, the harder it was for them to break through. Chen Ge knew this very well. He wanted to train Zhang Yi, but unfortunately, he did not have enough food. The specters in Zhujiang were very smart. He was already too embarrassed to make a move on them, but things would be completely different in Shanghai. Do you think Lan Xiaochen is a chess piece that the cursed hospital purposely arranged? Be it the curse letter that Xiao Dai's little brother received or the suspected disappearance of the visitors in Zhujiang. These 2 points are very intentional. It is as if they are trying to convince me to hurry over to investigate. Chen Ge's brain turned quickly as he considered all the possibilities. I have no idea. You should return to the comic for now and take a good rest. Chen Ge summoned his employees back into the comic, and he walked down the street alone. There is no need to rush. Be it Zhang Yi or Yan Danian, they are both very rare and unique specters. What I need to do now is to turn them into red specters. Chen Ge's train of thought was very clear. Once the special specters around me become red specters, they will become a force that cannot be ignored. Yan Danian, who was just a baleful specter, was already deemed by the Black Phone to be the strongest lesser red specter. If he became a red specter, did that not mean that he would be able to do whatever he wanted? I need to find a chance to send Shao Sun over there first, and then I'll take my time and see who will be exhausted to death first. At around 5 a.m., Chen Ge returned to Century Avenue. He was about to go to Nightmare Academy when he suddenly saw someone walk out from the back door of Shi Li Shang. The person's back was very similar to Kai Ren. Carrying a backpack, Chen Ge silently snuck his way over. The sky had just started to brighten, and it was the time when there were the least people on Century Avenue. The person who had snuck out from the back door of Shi Li Shang was dragging a suitcase. He carefully looked to both sides of the road like he was hiding from someone. As he slowly approached, Chen Ge did not make any sound as he walked. He stared at the man for a long time and finally confirmed that this man was the Kai Ren in the picture at the management office. "Were you chased out by someone?" Chen Ge's voice suddenly appeared next to the man's ear. It gave him a fright, and his face blanched. "Who are you?" "I am the new boss of the haunted house next door. If you have nowhere else to go, I can take you in." Before Chen Ge finished, the man made a very strange gesture. He used both of his hands to cover his mouth. "What's wrong? Are you not feeling well?" Chen Ge held the backpack and blocked the way. The man shook his head vehemently. In the end, he took out his phone and typed several words on the screen. "I don't want to harm you, leave now." "Harm me?" Chen Ge used yin-yang vision to stare at the man for a long time. After he confirmed that the man before him was Kai Ren, he looked around. The two of them were standing at the back door of Shi Li Shang. There were no surveillance cameras there. "You can't even protect yourself, but you still care about the life and death of an innocent passerby. Looks like you are a trustworthy person." Chen Ge took out the comic. Blood vessels surged behind his back, swallowing the light of dawn. Red Spectre. The veins on the man's face popped. He realized the danger he was in. He abandoned the suitcase and turned to run. "Don't be afraid, I just want to help you. I don't need your help. When I help people, I don't ask whether they need my help or not." Chen Ge grabbed the man's arm and forced his arm around his shoulder. "Be quiet. There are at least 5 red specters around you. Do you think you can run away?" Five. Don't panic. Keep breathing normally." Chen Ge helped the man put on the cap so that the brim of the cap blocked half of the man's face. Crossing the street, Chen Ge led the man back to Nightmare Academy. After he locked the door, he grabbed the man and walked into the headmaster's office inside the haunted house. "All right, you're safe now." Chen Ge and the man stood inside the headmaster's office. Around them were Meng Nan and the water ghost Red Spectre. The man did not dare say a word. He felt like he had failed to escape. "You are Kai Ren? How did you know?" The man nodded carefully. "Are you the one guarding the old storeroom?" "Yes." "Was it you who wrote the note for Dr. Fang?" "Yes." Chen Ge took out a piece of paper. "Write the sentence on the note again on this paper." 10 minutes later, Chen Ge finally confirmed that the man before him was Kai Ren. A few days ago, it was he who wanted to save Dr. Fang, but he did not succeed. Why would you risk offending the cursed hospital to save Dr. Fang? Chen Ge wanted to get to the bottom of this question. Dr. Fang is a very kind person. He is not arrogant at all, and he often helps the patients solve various problems. I feel like the benevolence of a doctor is the best way to describe him. Kai Ren sighed. How could I watch such a kind person walk to his death? Then, do you still want to save Dr. Fang? Chen Ge was slowly guiding the man. Of course. Kai Ren's eyes lit up, but they soon dimmed. But I can't even save myself now, so how am I supposed to save others? It's fine, I'll help you. Chen Ge patted Kai Ren on his shoulder with a smile. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. From today onward, we are friends. Welcome to Fanfic Audiobook, your go-to place for immersive audiobooks. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. Friends? Kai Ren looked at Chen Ge, and then his eyes could not help but move to the two red specters. Cold sweat slid down his forehead. I do not have the right to be friends with you. We are from two different worlds. Everyone is my brother. The reason I have been able to reach this stage is because I have many friends. You are Dr. Fang's friend, and I am also Dr. Fang's friend. We have the same goal and the same friends. That is enough. Chen Ge was too lazy to waste time on this question. Stop wasting time. Tell me everything you know about Dr. Fang now. You cannot save him. He has already been chosen. Kai Ren shook his head. You are indeed very powerful to be able to command red specters, but compared to them, you are still too far away. Who are they referring to? A hospital. Dr. Fang is the person chosen by that hospital. They want Dr. Fang to be their day doctor. I do not know the exact reason, but I believe it is because many doctors from that hospital have disappeared recently, and they are currently short on manpower. Kai Ren's words surprised Chen Ge. He did not expect Kai Ren to know all these extremely secretive things. What is your relationship with that hospital? Don't worry, no one will be able to hear what you say here other than us. To ensure Kai Ren's safety, Chen Ge had even released the red high heels. I cannot tell you. If I tell you these things, I might die immediately. Kai Ren unbuttoned his shirt. There was a deep black blood vessel around his heart. It looked like a thin black thread that was embedded in his flesh. Everyone who is related to that hospital will be cursed. Once the curse is triggered, this black blood vessel will continue to grow until it finally takes root in the brain. What will happen if this curse is broken? Chen Ge stared at the black blood vessel, and there seemed to be the sound of crying coming from it. No one can break the curse, not even the most powerful red specter. Kai Ren shook his head. Almost as soon as he finished speaking, the temperature in the room suddenly dropped. A hand covered in bandages pressed against his chest. The black blood vessel faded in color, and it stopped growing. You're right. No one can break this curse, but my friend here can make it temporarily lose its effect without attracting the attention of the person who cast the curse. The temperature in the room slowly rose. Kai Ren stood dumbfounded on the spot. The hand that appeared on his chest just now was like an illusion. Now, you can speak with confidence. Chen Ge gestured for Kai Ren to continue. After a moment's hesitation, Kai Ren took a deep breath. As if his life was at stake, he used a very urgent tone to say, there is a monster that even red specters are afraid of at that hospital. Its surname is Kai, and the curse on us is related to it. After saying that, Kai Ren's face turned pale. He stared at the black blood vessels on his chest. He waited for a long time, but nothing happened to the blood vessel. The curse has been suppressed. Kai Ren clearly felt a lot more relaxed. It was as if the time bomb that had been installed on his body had been removed. Wiping away the cold sweat on his face, Kai Ren's tone slowly returned to normal. There are 4 types of living people at the cursed hospital. The patients after number 100, the day shift doctors, the people with the surname Kai, and the non-smiler. The non-smiler is the closest relative of the hospital director, and the people with the surname Kai are the family members created by the monster. The information that Kai Ren revealed to Chen Ge was very important. Other than the 1,000-faced demon god that had been consumed by Zhang Ya, there were at least 2 other demon gods at the cursed hospital. One was the hospital director, and the other had the surname Kai. You are the family members created by the monster. Chen Ge used yin-yang vision to study Kai Ren. This was a very normal middle-aged man. There was nothing attractive about him. Chen Ge could not understand why demon god would choose him. The story starts from 15 years ago. At the time, I had just moved to Xinhai. I was young and brave, so my relative who lived in Xinhai found me a job to look after the morgue. It was not tiring, but there were many night shifts. Kai Ren started to talk about his past. I have never gone to school, and I do not have any special skills. I was already very happy that my relative was willing to introduce me to a job. Furthermore, the salary was quite high. The hospital director told me that there would be a patrol every night at midnight, 1 a.m., and 2 a.m. The main focus of the inspection was on the few doors at the lowest level of the morgue. Once the lock was found to be loose, I was to report to him immediately no matter how late it was. But think about it. Who would go to the morgue to pick the lock at night? This is a morgue. There is nothing valuable here, only dead bodies. Which thief would be so stupid to come here to steal things? I thought that was strange, but I did not dare ask. The first Monday was normal. At that time, there was no cell phone, and it was very boring to work alone. Furthermore, the morgue was very cool at night. There was not even a mosquito, so I came up with an idea to slack off. There was only one patrol every day, and then I would hide in there to sleep. The room was very cool, like the air conditioner was on. Sometimes, I even had to pull a blanket over myself. It was about 2 weeks later that I started to have nightmares, the kind that were very real. I dreamt that after I fell asleep, there was a circle of people standing around my bed, looking at me. I also dreamt that I was pushed into the incinerator as a dead body. These dreams were all fine until the 3rd week, when I dreamt of a child. The child had no eyes or nose on his face. He only had a mouth. He stood beside my bed and asked me to tell him a story. I was afraid, but I did not dare reject him, so I told him about the strange things that happened in my village. He seemed to be addicted to the story, and he would appear in my dreams every day. After that, I really ran out of stories, but the child with only a mouth still refused to let me go. He not only appeared in my dreams, but he also started to appear in real life. I was at my wit's end, and when I was about to break down, a monster whose entire face was occupied by a mouth appeared, carrying the child. He asked me if I was willing to become his family, and I did not dare reject him. Kai Ren's expression was pained. He appeared to be looking for his family, but he could not find them. After I became the monster's family, he left. Then, I realized that a black blood vessel was growing on my heart. I had to do certain things according to his request. No matter how unwilling I was, if I went against his will, I would die. After Kai Ren finished telling his story, he turned to Chen Ge. "You're the first person that I have met who has the power to suppress his curse." It was very difficult to suppress a demon god's curse. The red high heels possessed a very rare talent related to curses, and she had consumed everything that belonged to the ghost fetus. She was already a top red specter. At the same time, she had fulfilled many harsh conditions, and that was why she was able to suppress the curse of the monster with the surname Kai. How is the relationship between the monster with the surname Kai and the headmaster? Chen Ge wanted to try and see if he could split them apart. After all, Zhang Ya could only hold back one demon god, and the other demon god could make use of this time to kill all the employees at the haunted house. They are very good. Sometimes, it feels like they are the same person. With the curse under control, Kai Ren's courage slowly grew. He had kept these words in his heart for too long, and now he could finally say them out loud. "Everyone, I am not the only person with the surname Kai in Shanghai. The boss of Ten Li Shang also has the surname Kai. We are all victims of the cursed hospital, and we can only live under the shadow of the curse for the rest of our lives. We do not dare reveal any secrets, and we have to fulfill some of their demands." Kai Ren gritted his teeth like he was thinking of something very painful. Some of the demands are very harsh. The boss of Ten Li Shang was once punished for something like that, and then he was forced to eat a certain type of meat. There was another person who entered the cursed hospital to search for his daughter, but not only did he fail to find his daughter, his memory was altered, and he became a pitiful puppet. Green veins popped on his cheeks, and Kai Ren was filled with regret. "Yes, we are all monsters. As long as you retain your humanity, you are still a human." Chen Ge consoled Kai Ren, but his heart was thinking about something else. The headmaster had a very good relationship with the demon god with the surname Kai. They were like the same person. It was very difficult to split them apart. If Chen Ge wanted to fight them, he would need the help of two demon gods. And that was just the right to fight them face to face. The cursed hospital had existed for more than 20 years. No one could really tell how many demon gods they had. Even a victim like Kai Ren knew about the existence of two demon gods, so the actual number of demon gods at the cursed hospital was probably more than Chen Ge had predicted. Zhang Ya is a demon god, and the red high heels is a top red specter. Xiao Biyu can unleash the power of a top red specter in Liwan City, but in other people's worlds, he is still a step away from becoming a top red specter. These three were the top combatants at Chen Ge's haunted house. The red high heels and Xiao Biyu were the red specters who had the highest chance of becoming demon gods in the near future. The difference in power is too big. I need to borrow their strength. Three names appeared in Chen Ge's mind: Dr. Gao, the painter, and Chang Wenyu. Dr. Gao destroyed the door to Coffin Village, so he can move freely in the Red City. Perhaps he has already become a demon god. My relationship with him is very complicated. We both belong to the Society of Strange Tales, and I have a relationship with Gao Rushui. I should be able to convince him. The painter himself has power close to that of a demon god, and he has many red specters following him. Due to Fan Yu, he is not my enemy. Even though Chang Wenyu has used me before, she now needs me to recover her spirit. Of the three people, she is the easiest to become my friend. Chen Ge knew that he would not be able to pose any threat to the cursed hospital alone, so he decided to gather all the power he had. Now that I think about it, I still have a chance of winning. After communicating with Kai Ren, Chen Ge decided to go and solve Chang Wenyu's problem that day. He needed to help Chang Wenyu recover as soon as possible. That would be very beneficial to him as well. With our current power level, if the cursed hospital comes after me, I might not be able to escape. Many of the employees at the haunted house were red specters, but Chen Ge was just a normal person. It would be too easy for the cursed hospital to kill a normal person. Therefore, the plan has to be moved forward. We cannot give the cursed hospital too much time. Chen Ge turned back to Kai Ren. While you have been a part of the family of the monster with the surname Kai, have you run into any doctors or patients who have left the hospital? I have. They will run into danger when they are out on a mission. Did they come to you for help? After all, you are related to the cursed hospital, and you are all carrying the curse on you, Chen Ge asked patiently. We normal people with the surname Kai that are scattered around the city are pawns of the cursed hospital. Be it the patients or the doctors, as long as they sense the curse on us, they will ask us to do something, and we will normally agree to it unconditionally. Kai Ren had a bitter expression on his face. We do not have the right to refuse. In other words, the people with the surname Kai are at the lowest level at the cursed hospital? A bold thought appeared in Chen Ge's mind. You can say that. You can stay in this room for now. I can promise you that as long as you do not leave this room, you will not run into any danger. Chen Ge had not slept the whole night, but he did not feel sleepy at all. His eyes were filled with excitement. Are you leaving? By the way, I still do not know how to address you. Kai Ren was still in a daze. Both the cursed hospital and Chen Ge were existences that he could not afford to offend. In comparison, Chen Ge appeared to be more reliable and friendly. There are cooked food and beer on the table that I bought yesterday. The bathroom is next door. If you are tired, go to sleep. Before I return, do not leave this building. Chen Ge left the two red specters behind. He ran to one of the scenarios on the first floor and summoned Xiao Sun. How are your studies coming along? Chen Ge turned to look at Xiao Sun with anticipation. I really did not expect that I would still have to receive a force-fed education after I died. Xiao Sun felt like he had slimmed down a lot, and his body had become more transparent. I have learned everything that I should have learned, and I have memorized everything that I should have memorized. Now, even if patient 101 were to come back to life, I would not be as good as him. Very good. Go and prepare yourself. I will send you to the cursed hospital in a few days. So soon? Xiao Sun's face blanched instantly. Listen to my plan first. Chen Ge planned to use the people with the surname Kai to send Xiao Sun to the cursed hospital. He first communicated with Xiao Sun and then brought Xiao Sun out to scout the place. They used the whole morning to lock onto a person with the surname Kai in the countryside of Xinhai. I need to familiarize myself with the environment first. We will make our move tonight. At around 1 p.m., when Chen Ge returned to Nightmare Academy, he realized that Zhang Jingju and Ku Changlin had already arrived. In the future, Zhang Jingju will be the acting manager, Ku Changlin will be the main designer of the props and scenarios, and Xiao Dai, you will be the foreman. There were 3 living employees at the haunted house. Chen Ge gave each of them a job that sounded quite impressive. First, clean up the useless props and old scenarios. Depending on the situation, we will open for business in 3 days. After assigning the jobs, Chen Ge asked Xiao Dai about her little brother, and then he carried his backpack and hurried to Xinhai First High School. Xiao Dai's little brother attended Xinhai First High School, and it was also the school that Chang Wenyu's soul had entrusted to. Have you heard? Our male dormitory was haunted last night. One of the students who often bullied his roommates was so scared that he lost control of his bowels and peed. How come I heard it was the female dormitory? The surveillance cameras were blocked by shadows, but one could see human faces running into the dormitory. A girl was found unconscious in the corridor by the dormitory manager early in the morning. She appeared to be sleepwalking. Yes, I saw someone being sent to the hospital this morning. The ambulance stopped at the female dormitory for quite a while. Now the version that everyone is talking about is that the student who often bullied her classmates was cursed. A few girls huddled together and chattered among themselves. The one who looked the prettiest among them did not interrupt, but her eyes were filled with disdain. Chen Wen, you should be more obedient for now. If you go looking for trouble again, you might run into a ghost tonight. A girl with a heavy voice and a more androgynous appearance told the student who had not spoken. Do you think I'll believe that? Chen Wen crossed her arms before her chest. She stood at the back door like she was waiting for someone. When the bell rang, and most of the students returned to their seats, a very plainly dressed female student stepped into the classroom. She was dressed in rags and had not dressed up. Her eyes darted around like she did not dare to meet her deskmate Chen Wen's gaze. After the first class ended, the girl did not go to the toilet. She sat in her seat like something bad would happen if she left the classroom. You seem to have a problem with me? Chen Wen moved her chair to stand next to the girl. Without listening to the content of the conversation, just from their backs, one would think that they had a good relationship. No, the girl held a pen and flipped through her notes. I'm talking to you. Look at me. Look at me. Chen Wen placed her arm on the girl's shoulder. After school this afternoon, why don't we go out to play? It's Friday, so don't pretend to be a good girl every day. Don't you want to make friends? Let's go together, and we'll be friends from now on. I have something to do tonight, then it's settled. If you dare to stand me up, I'll teach you a lesson. Chen Wen let go of her hand and took out her phone to chat with someone. Her deskmate gripped the pen in her hand tightly. She was afraid, but she didn't know who to talk to. She didn't know what Chen Wen wanted her to do, but she knew it was definitely something bad. Without solid evidence, even if she told the teacher, the school wouldn't deal with Chen Wen. Taking a step back, even if the school criticized Chen Wen, as long as she wasn't expelled from school, Chen Wen and her friends would definitely bully the girl even more. This was the most painful point for the victims of school bullying. They were obviously the victims, but they still had to be isolated, and they might even have to bear the secondary harm from their family and school. Thinking about Chen Wen's words, the girl couldn't even pay attention in class. She didn't dare to say a word and just stared at the textbook silently. During the exercise break, the girl asked for leave from the teacher because she was not feeling well. She rested alone in the classroom. Should we tell teacher? The girls who are pestered by Chen Wen either become her friends or transfer schools. Her family seems to be very powerful. She hadn't followed her parents to Xinhai for that long, but the girl felt a sense of inferiority from the bottom of her heart. I can't give my parents any more trouble, but what should I do? Chang Feifei. The girl suddenly heard someone call her name. She turned to look, and there was a young man with a smile standing at the window of the classroom. The sun shone on his body, and his smile was tinged with warmth. It should be her. Quick, pull me back into the comic. My body is melting. A shadow was begging and struggling behind the young man, but of course, the girl did not see that. After pulling Chang Jiyu back into the comic, Chen Ge pushed open the back door of the classroom. Don't be afraid, I'm here on someone's request to ask you to do something for me. The girl was confused. She had no idea what Chen Ge was talking about. Have you ever had a dream like this before? Chen Ge stood at the back door and whispered. You dreamed of a blood-red door, and behind the door was a school that only had classes at night. All the students and teachers at the school were ghosts. When you were at your wits' end, a female senior came to help you. The girl seemed to remember something, and she was very surprised. How did you know I had this dream before? Do you still remember what condition you promised that female senior in your dream? Chen Ge followed Changgu's instructions and guided the girl step by step. She helped me escape from the nightmare, and I was willing to help her look after something. The girl was very innocent. I am that female senior's friend. Now she wants me to help her retrieve that thing. Chen Ge did not look like a bad person. After a moment's hesitation, the girl undid the first button on her shirt and removed something that looked like a perfume pouch from her collar. I've always been curious, wondering whether it was a dream or not. If it was not a dream, then I have completely forgotten the actual memory, but if it was a dream, after I woke up from the dream, this thing appeared in my hands. The girl opened the perfume pouch, and inside it was a red stone. Inside the stone was a strand of hair that had been twisted into a ball. This should be it. Chen Ge accepted the stone, and the red specters in the comic warned him at the same time like this thing was very dangerous. Thank you. I'll take this thing with me. Your luck will slowly improve in the future. Before the school's security arrived, Chen Ge took the stone and left Xinhai First High School in a hurry. Chang Ji-yu, I've gotten the thing. What should I do next? Chen Ge stood under the shade of a tree with his backpack and seemed to be talking to himself. That strand of hair is my little sister's last lingering spirit, and the red stone is her heart's blood, the most important drop of blood for a top red specter, a shadow behind Chen Ge said. You've given me such important information. Aren't you afraid that I'll have other red specters consume her? Yes, but there's nothing I can do about it. Chang Ji-yu had a bitter smile on his face. Even if I don't say it, your other red specters will notice it. Don't worry, I will do what I promised you. I hope you won't disappoint me again. Chen Ge tossed the red stone in his hand into the air, and it caused Chang Gu's heart to race. With just lingering spirit and heart's blood, your little sister's soul can return? She still needs to consume some baleful specters, but I'm not sure how many exactly. Chang Ji-yu lowered his head and did not dare look into Chen Ji's eyes. So, you guys want me to be your babysitter? I finally understand Chang Wenyu's plan. Her opponents are all in Zhujiang, so she chose a child from Xinhai and hid her lingering spirit in her body. After she awakens, she can consume the ghosts in Xinhai to recover her power, and when she fully recovers, she can return to Zhujiang. Chang Wenyu was very clever, but she had underestimated Zhang Ya's power. She did not expect that Chen Ge would carry a demon god with him. Boss, at the school of the afterlife, the two of us were indeed wrong. We hope that you can help her this time. Chang Ji-yu even called him boss. In this period of time that they had spent together, his view of Chen Ge had been changing. He felt like Chen Ge was a trustworthy person. Don't worry. Chen Ge put the red stone away, and his brows creased. If Chang Wenyu wants to awaken, she needs to feed baleful specters. If my employees want to improve their power, they also need baleful specters and red specters. After giving it some thought, Chen Ge took out his phone and started to search for ghost stories related to Xinhai. He created a Smurf account and snuck into a local supernatural forum. He found what he was looking for in one of the threads. A compilation of Xinhai ghost stories. Choose the scariest 10 ghost stories in Xinhai that you think are the scariest. Chen Ge looked through the threads one by one. His pupils slowly narrowed as he silently recorded all the information. Chang Ji-yu, who stood next to him, did not dare say anything. When his boss flipped through the supernatural stories, it was like a customer flipping through a menu. The serious expression on his face made his hair stand on end. The thread is still updating. The latest reply was 2 minutes ago. I guess I managed to catch up with the livestream. Chen Ge saved the forum page. He had memorized the addresses of several ghost stories, and he planned to go there that night. Returning to Nightmare Academy, Chen Ge did not have time to greet his employees and went straight to the headmaster's office. He asked Kai Ren some more questions and confirmed some information about Dr. Fang and the man with the surname Kai before he left. Man proposes, God disposes. Xiao Sun, this time, you will definitely run into many kinds of danger, but I believe that you will be able to do it because you are different from the rest. Chen Ge personally inspected the result of Xiao Sun's special training and then taught Xiao Sun some things. After the sky turned dark, Chen Ge, who was fully prepared, brought the heavily injured Xiao Sun to the countryside of Xinhai. The secret of the man with the surname Kai was only known to the man with the surname Kai, and this secret could not be shared. Due to the curse of the demon god, once the man with the surname Kai leaked the secret, not only would he die, the demon god would also know about the situation here. The cursed hospital did not expect the red high heels to inherit everything from the ghost fetus and become a top red specter. Now this loophole was being exploited by Chen Ge. He created an accident for the man with the surname Kai, who lived in the countryside, and very coincidentally, he ran into patient 101, Xiao Sun, who was about to lose his soul. After gaining the trust of the man with the surname Kai, Chen Ge watched with his own eyes as the man with the surname Kai brought Xiao Sun out of Xinhai. The place that he went was the junction between Xinhai and Zhujiang. There were large wastelands and ghost buildings there, and they had been abandoned for many years. For some reason, after sending Xiao Sun away, Chen Ge gave a long sigh of relief. God helps the good. Hopefully, Xiao Sun will be able to make a name for himself at the cursed hospital. Next, I need to improve the power of my employees as soon as possible and try to turn the red high heels into a demon god as well. It was very difficult for a red specter to become a demon god. But Chen Ge had no other choice. Only when the red high heels became a demon god would he have the right to challenge the cursed hospital. Logging back into the supernatural forum that he had visited in the morning, Chen Ge realized that the thread was still being updated. The supernatural enthusiasts on the forum had gotten into an argument about the ranking of ghost stories. No one was willing to give in to the other, and in the end, some even decided to livestream themselves. This is a big city after all. It sure is lively. There was a similar forum in Zhujiang, but the number of active users was pitifully small. In terms of population, the two cities were not even on the same level. The more people a place has, the more despair there will be, and the more ghost stories there will be. Theoretically speaking, that is true, but Zhujiang is obviously an exception. Chen Ge also realized that the number of ghost stories in Zhujiang had reached an abnormal level. If a city was compared to a person, then Zhujiang was like Sun Shaojun. They were loved by thousands of specters. I've been in Xinhai for so many days, it's about time I pay them a visit. Chen Ge hailed a cab to his destination based on the ranking of Xinhai's ghost stories on the forum. Sir, please drive faster. I'm in a hurry. I need to go to a few places tonight. At 11 p.m., Chen Ge had already visited 3 of the top 10 ghost stories in Xinhai, but he did not find anything. He also slowly realized that the more famous the ghost stories, the lower the chance of a hidden red specter. This was because if a red specter really appeared in a ghost story, there would be no survivors. Without survivors, naturally, there would be no witnesses, and the ghost story itself would not spread. With the attitude that he would rather kill 1,000 than let one go, Chen Ge recorded all the ghost stories on the forum. Among them, he did find a few more unique ghost stories. The description was not very detailed, but he could see descriptions like bloody clothes and red. Xinhai's ghost story ranking number 27. The crying well at the development zone. It is a dry well, but the sound of crying comes from it. There are also witnesses who say that they can see bloody hair poking out from the well after midnight. This sounds quite interesting, it's worth a visit. The phone was placed on his knees. Chen Ge was still holding a pen and paper in his hands, jotting down notes. Those who did not know better would think that he was writing a review or something like that. 10 minutes later, Chen Ge arrived at a construction site at the development zone. Due to many reasons, the construction suddenly stopped. The well was at the foot of the mountain behind the construction site. Walking through the bushes and trees, Chen Ge finally found the well. It was made of stone, and not far from the well were a few old, empty houses. This should be the place. Before Chen Ge got close, he heard the sound of crying. It's coming from the well. There was a special power in the crying. Chen Ge's body seemed to have lost control as he slowly walked toward the well. The pale moonlight shone on the well. Chen Ge looked into the well, and there were endless black hair flowing like water. Without any communication, the black hair curled around Chen Ge's neck, trying to pull him into the well. You were the one who started it. His palm flipped through the comic. The moonlight turned red, and the blood flowed backward into the well. Moments later, the red specter holding Chong Wenyu's bloodstone reappeared beside Chen Ge. There is only a half-red specter inside the well, but it appears to have been cursed. It has completely lost its mind, and it seems to have forgotten its obsession when it was alive. Is it cursed? Now, whenever the curse was mentioned, Chen Ge would be reminded of that hospital. After the blood heart consumed a half-red specter, its color only darkened slightly. I believe it will need to consume at least 2 red specters before it will wake up. Other than that, there are some things written at the bottom of the well. I think you should go and take a look yourself. The red specter and Shu Yin led Chen Ge into the old well. At the bottom of the well, they found a cenotaph. Among the well-preserved clothes was a patient's record, and there was a sentence written on the back of the record. This is a sickened world. Why haven't you realized it? I will definitely cure you. This sentence again. Chen Ge had seen this sentence at Lan Xiaochen's home before. This is a sickened world. Why haven't you realized it? I feel like this sentence is meant for me. Putting away the patient's record, Chen Ge climbed out of the old well. Let's not think about it for now. I need to prepare for the next ghost story. Xinhai Ghost Story Ranking Number 19, Midnight Delivery. A murder once took place in Crescent Building Room 444. When the killer was dealing with the body, the victim's delivery arrived. The delivery worker had no idea what happened inside the room. After hoping that the killer would give him a good review, he was brutally murdered by the killer. From then on, anyone who orders a delivery at Crescent Building after midnight might run into the delivery worker who died a horrible death. After reading the information on the phone, Chen Ge shook the lock of room 444 at Crescent Building. After realizing that the door was not locked, he walked in and took out his phone to order beer and barbecue. Perhaps because he had written the address as room 444 at Crescent Building, after the store accepted the order, none of the delivery workers came to him. He waited for a whole half an hour, and the store still had not delivered the delivery. Suddenly, footsteps came from the corridor outside the corridor. Moments later, there was a knock on the door of room 444, and a man's voice came from outside. Your delivery is here. Chen Ge leaned on the peephole to look outside. There was a man standing outside room 444, and he was holding a red box that was leaking blood. Is it the wrong delivery? My message says that the store hasn't delivered the delivery yet. Chen Ge took out the comic, and as he flipped through it, he yelled at the door. Yes, this is the address. The man outside the door had his head lowered, and his body was pressed against the door. Looks like there's something wrong with my phone. Chen Ge soon convinced himself. He opened the door and smiled at the man. At the same time, the 3 red specters behind Chen Ge also turned to look at the delivery worker. When the door opened, a strange smile appeared on the man's lips, but soon, the smile froze on his face. The red box that he held with both hands seemed to become heavier. His Adam's apple trembled, and he took a step back subconsciously. I'm sorry, I read the wrong address. This is not the delivery that you ordered. Hugging the red box, the man turned to leave, but he was stopped by the water ghost. You're right. The delivery that we've been waiting for is you. With the help of a red specter, the delivery ghost was no match for them, but Chen Ge did not feed the delivery ghost to Chang Wenyu. The delivery man was conscious, and there was no trace of the curse on him. Chen Ge did not find any information related to the cursed hospital on him. He's not even a half-red specter, so there's no need to consume him. Plus, he looks quite smart, and he knows how to deliver food. He's a talent with a unique skill. Chen Ge sent the delivery ghost into the comic and had him stay with Meng Nan. The delivery man's power is not as strong as the ghost inside the well, but the scary atmosphere he creates is stronger than the well. It's hard to decide, so I'll temporarily rank this ghost story below the well. After leaving Xin Yu building, Chen Ge hurried to the next ghost story. He had already visited 7 ghost stories that night. 3 of them did not have any ghosts, and the remaining 4 only had the half-red specter inside the well being consumed. The ghosts in the other 3 ghost stories were normal spirits and baleful specters, so there was no need to consume them. Xinhai is so big, but there's not even one wild, red specter? Looking through his phone, Chen Ge came to a place called Card's Archway in the old city of Xinhai. This used to be the most chaotic street in Xinhai, but due to a big fire, the place was abandoned. The developer bought the land at a very low price, but for some reason, the construction never started, and the street was abandoned just like that. The Card's Archway was surrounded by cement walls. After Chen Ge jumped over the wall, he immediately felt that something was wrong. The inside and outside of the wall were two different worlds. The air inside the wall had a rotten smell, and it was very oppressive. There's no sign of life at all. How long has this place been abandoned? Sometimes, abandoned buildings in the city would become the homes of scavengers, but Card's Archway seemed to be an exception. With the Black Phone's training, when Chen Ge entered a place, he did not need to investigate too closely. Just from the lingering smell, he could tell whether there was a baleful specter or not. He had been through too much, and his body had gotten used to it. He had mastered many powers that a normal person could not even imagine. Flipping through the comic, pressing the play button on the recorder, Chen Ge pushed open the burnt door and entered the Card's Archway. Why is there the smell of blood? Chen Ge lifted his head to take a deep breath and used his talent, Spirit Sniff. It's coming from inside the building. Walking through a corridor filled with mahjong tables and wooden chairs, when Chen Ge turned the corner, he realized something was wrong. Following the sound of ticking, he saw a person hanging in the hall at the end of the corridor. The stench and the smell of blood were coming from this person. Just as Chen Ge discovered the person, the body that was riddled with fatal wounds suddenly opened its eyes. Not good. Summoning his employees, before the body lunged at Chen Ge, the water ghost and Xu Yin stood before Chen Ge to protect him. Black and red blood leaked out from the broken body, and black insects that looked like centipedes kept dropping from the body. It did not know fear or pain. Even when facing two red specters, it did not dodge and charged at them. The water ghost blocked the body easily, but when he touched it, the blood that leaked out from the body's back morphed into a red shadow that bit at Chen Ge's face. Xu Yin. The sound of static echoed in his ears, and a pale arm pierced through the blood shadow. A shrill scream came from inside the hall, but soon, something even scarier happened. A face peeked out from the crack on the floor, and black insects crawled out. The floor not far from Chen Ge bulged upward like something was moving quickly underground. In less than a second, a face covered in wounds appeared next to Chen Ge's shoes. There's another one? The face was about to crawl out from the ground, but foul odor stepped on it and pushed it back into the ground. The fat foul odor morphed into a black fog and used his body to surround Chen Ge. The screams in the hall increased. The paint on the ceiling peeled off like skin, revealing the ceiling that was covered in black and white pictures. The faces stared at Chen Ge. Their faces were twisted, and they did not know fear. As if they had received some kind of order, countless yin spirits charged out from the pictures and charged at Chen Ge like a swarm of insects. Xu Yin, who had torn apart the red shadow, appeared again. He crushed all the yin spirits that got close to Chen Ge. The moment Xu Yin was entangled by the yin spirits, a thin blood web appeared on the ground. A black and red shadow with a burnt body ran out from the deepest part of the building. Its target was clear, Chen Ge. If Chen Ge only had the protection of two red specters, he would have been dead already. The specter inside the building was very cunning. It waited until all the red specters were stalled before it showed itself. Unfortunately, it had underestimated the number of red specters around Chen Ge. After the red specter with the burnt body appeared, Chen Ge stopped hiding his power and summoned the other red specters. Then, something very strange happened. The red specter with the burnt body seemed to have lost its mind. It started to fight the other red specters like it had gone mad. It is cursed as well? For the sake of safety, Chen Ge summoned the red high heels. Once this top red specter appeared, the whole building started to shake. The floor cracked, revealing the burnt bodies that were buried deep underground. The battle ended the moment the red high heels appeared. The black and red shadow revealed its true form. It was an amalgamation of resentment. When the building caught fire, many people did not run out. Their resentment before they died was buried deep underground, forming a monster that was stronger than a normal red specter. This monster already had a deep resentment, and it was cursed. It would attack anyone who entered the building at night. It was very dangerous. Chen Ge had helped the people that day. Several red specters worked together to kill this black and red shadow and fed all the resentment to Chong Wenyu's bloodstone. The number of people who had died in the building was a mystery. There were no reports, and there was no other information. As the resentment was absorbed by the bloodstone, the black and white pictures on the ceiling started to fall. The pictures started to turn yellow, and the people in them started to blur. More cracks appeared on the floor, and the walls of the building started to crack. This building that had been around for decades appeared to be collapsing. After a whole 15 minutes, Chang Wenyu's bloodstone finally consumed the red specter inside the building. The blood clot had grown larger, and it was beating on its own like a living human heart. Let's prepare to leave. This building is going to collapse. Chen Ge was about to leave when the red high heels jumped into the pit where the burnt bodies were buried. Moments later, she found two things inside the pit: a half-burned letter and an earring. Initially, Chen Ge did not pay much attention to it, but after a closer look, his expression changed. The earring belonged to his mother. Placing the earring inside the backpack, Chen Ge opened the letter, and his brows creased together. The letter was half-burned, and only a few words were left on it. This is a sick world. The handwriting is very similar to my father's. Is this an imposter? But why would he do that? Why is my mother's earring inside the pit? Chen Ge had seen this sentence on the letter before, so even though the second half was burned, he knew what it meant. This is a sick world. Why haven't you realized that? I will definitely cure you. Could it be that this sentence is something my father told me? Is this a hint for me? Chen Ge looked at the familiar handwriting on the letter. After a moment's thought, his finger touched the edge of the letter that was burned. No, wait, the letter was written by my father, but the message that he wanted to tell me was probably not that sentence. The handwriting on the letter is different from the handwriting in the letter. They were written by different people. Narrowing his eyes, Chen Ge compared the half-sentence on the letter to the complete sentence on the letter. Someone is purposely misleading me. They want to create some kind of misunderstanding. He placed everything inside the backpack and did not share his thoughts with anyone. The culprit was able to obtain my father's handwritten letter and my mother's earring, so there is a high chance that it is related to that hospital. A sense of urgency rose in his heart. Chen Ge summoned all his employees and immediately left the archway. It's time to move to the next place. He brought the habit that he had cultivated in Zhujiang to Xinhai. He would not rest until the sun rose. At 3:55 a.m., Chen Ge arrived at an abandoned school in the countryside of Xinhai. Inside the abandoned school, he found another cursed red specter. After feeding this red specter to the bloodstone, Chang Wenyu, who had been asleep for a long time, finally woke up. The beating bloodstone was actually a small half of this top red specter's heart. She did not use her full strength to deal with the painter at the school of the afterlife but left a backup plan for herself. When the blood-red heart started to beat again, all the animals and insects around the abandoned school stopped making any sound. This place appeared to have become a forbidden zone for life. Her single eye opened, and a sea of blood was hidden in Chang Wenyu's eyes. With a twisted smile on her face, Chang Wenyu's bloody dress spread madly. She took one step after another toward Chen Ge until the red high heels stood before her. I know you are happy that you have regained your life, but I hope you can restrain yourself a little, or else I will feed you to the other red specters. Chen Ge was someone who had been through a lot. You have tricked and used me, but I have repaid you with kindness. Not only did I not come after you, I even saved your life. Do you want to show me something? That does not sound like something that a person of noble character would say. Chang Jiyu stood behind Chen Ge and whispered. When he saw his sister, he was very excited. Chang Wenyu slowly calmed down. Her remaining eyes stared at Chen Ge, and her blood-red lips opened slightly. I have seen your phone once at the deepest part of the Red City. Only I know about that place. I can take you there. When he was doing the trial mission at the School of the Afterlife, Chang Wenyu had stolen Chen Ji's black phone. Because of that, the black phone had purposely released a mission related to Chang Wenyu. That's it. Chen Ge was not satisfied. He had all the haunted house employees surround Chang Wenyu. For you, I purposely came to Xinhai and accidentally offended the scariest cursed hospital in Xinhai. There are at least 2 demon gods inside that hospital. I have paid such a big price, and you only give me 1 sentence. Quote. The single eye blinked. Chang Wenyu had just woken up. She did not know whether Chen Ge was telling the truth or not, but she knew that this was her weakest moment. What do you need me to do? Before the cursed hospital is completely leveled, you need to be my haunted house's employee and obey my orders. Chen Ge gave his request. Earlier, you said that it was you who offended the cursed hospital, so why do you want to level them now? Since we are already enemies, why don't we get rid of this problem once and for all? Being surrounded by several red specters, whenever Chang Wenyu's single eye blinked, the madness and cruelty in her eyes would increase, but at the last moment, she still gave in. Okay, I promise you. This is one of the best decisions you have ever made in your life. Chen Ge had the red high heels leave a mark on Chang Wenyu, and then he untied Zhang Ya's hair that was tied around the headless woman's wrist and tied it back around Chang Wenyu's wrist. Throughout the whole process, Chang Wenyu did not resist at all. It was not until Chen Ge felt that everything was in place that Chang Wenyu said, I have my own things to do. I will give you this eyeball. When you need my help, just crush it, and I will appear. The sea of blood in her single eye roiled. The murderous aura around Chang Wenyu blocked out the rising sun on the horizon. She took out a bloody eyeball from inside her red specter and shoved it to Chen Ge. Then, she dissolved into a blood mist and disappeared. Looking at the bloody eyeball in his palm, Chen Ge's facial muscles were twitching. A red specter like Chang Wenyu was a real red specter. She was surrounded by resentment and was constantly on the edge of madness. She was not afraid of anything, and she would toss an eyeball at the slightest disagreement. But a fake red specter would bully the weak and fear the strong. They would not be able to defeat anyone at the same level. They had not even killed a chicken before, much less harm a human. Where should I put this eyeball? If I leave it in my bag, it might crush, but if I leave it in my pocket, people will think I'm a madman. If someone calls the police, it will be even more troublesome. The eyeball that Chang Wenyu had given him did not fit anywhere. Chen Ge gave it some thought and decided to give it to Meng Nan. Of all the red specters, Meng Nan had the highest IQ and EQ. Sometimes, Chen Ge would give him some personal responsibility. Therefore, he was not worried that Meng Nan would temporarily take care of the eyeball. Chang Wenyu is currently at her weakest. She does not dare stay around me for too long. Whenever she finds a chance, she will leave. Looks like she still does not trust me completely. She is worried that I will let the other red specters consume her. Trust was something that needed to be built slowly. Chen Ge believed that if he was given enough time, he would be able to gain Chang Wenyu's trust. The sky was starting to brighten, but Chen Ge did not leave. He wandered around the abandoned school for a while. The red specters inside this abandoned school and the red specters inside the cards tower are much stronger than normal red specters, but there is no door in their scenarios. Is it because their despair is not enough to push open the door? There was no definite connection between a red specter and a door. The door pusher had to be a red specter, but not all red specters had their own door. Chen Ge initially did not think too much about it, but now that he thought about it, he felt like something was wrong. Could the door be unique to Zhujiang? Entering the classroom where the red specters first appeared, Chen Ge saw that familiar sentence on the table where the red specters used to be. This is a sickened world. Why haven't you realized that? I will definitely cure you. This sentence was carved on the table. It was like some kind of psychological suggestion, and it kept appearing before Chen Ge's eyes. After some time, Chen Ge could not forget this sentence. It's the same sentence, but the handwriting is completely different. They are written and carved by different people, but why would they leave behind this sentence? Unable to understand it, Chen Ge summoned his employees and hailed a cab to return to Nightmare Academy. I'm going to take a nap. You guys go ahead. Chen Ge said goodbye to the staff and entered the principal's office. Kai Ren had been staying in the house all this while. He was very bored and was using poker cards to build a tower. You'll be safe in a few days. Chen Ge entered the cubicle, hugged his backpack, and fell asleep immediately. Without having to worry about the haunted house and the visitors, he had a good sleep. At noon, Chen Ge woke up to buy lunch for himself and his living employees before leaving the haunted house. For him, Xinhai was an unexplored treasure trove. He wished that he could capture all the baleful specters and red specters in one fell swoop. After I deal with the cursed hospital, Should I take the train to various cities to spread my goodwill? Of course, Chen Ge was just thinking about it. Using the daytime to sort out the clues and information, Chen Ge planned to wait until nightfall before going to investigate on the spot. Before he had a direct conflict with the cursed hospital, he needed to find a way to increase the power of his own side. At 6 p.m., the employees were still discussing the future plans for Nightmare Academy, but as the boss, Chen Ge had already run to the countryside of Shanghai. It was another sleepless night. Chen Ge planned to feed the red specters that he found to the red high heels first to help her become a demon god. However, she rejected Chen Ge's kindness. As a top red specter with a curse type, consuming other red specters would not help her improve. Only consuming more despairing and evil curses would help her. In other words, the red high heels knew very well that the key for her to become a demon god was inside the cursed hospital. The red high heels did not need to consume red specters, so Chen Ge planned to pour all his resources onto Xiao Biyu. Xiao Biyu, who could unleash the power of a top red specter behind the door, was extremely talented. She was the shadow chosen by Chen Ge's parents and the door pusher that the ghost fetus valued the most. After consuming a red specter, Xiao Biyu fell into a deep slumber. With her power level, she should be able to wake up in at most one night. When Xiao Biyu fell asleep, Chen Ge handed the red specter that he found to Xu Yin. Xu Yin was not as powerful as the Tunnel Lady's son, and he was not the strongest red specter, but Xu Yin's heart was very unique. With every heartbeat, some black patterns would appear on his heart. The patterns appeared to be the imprint of his memory, and they contained an indescribable power. The other red specters' hearts were like the source of power, but Xu Yin's heart was like a seed that was growing. After consuming a red specter, the patterns on Xu Yin's heart spread to his chest. To Chen Ge's surprise, even after Xu Yin consumed a red specter that was as powerful as him, he did not fall into a deep slumber. As long as Chen Ge pressed the play button on the recorder, Xu Yin would appear. Xiao Biyu and Zhang Ya will fall into a deep slumber after consuming a red specter of the same level, so why is Xu Yin so special? Chen Ge tried to ask for the reason, but Xu Yin did not say a word. It was as if the man himself did not know the reason. At 3 a.m., Chen Ge had already investigated 11 ghost stories. He had organized the information that day and came up with the shortest route. Just as he was about to go to the 12 ghost stories, the sky over Shanghai's countryside was strangely dyed red, like a bloody hole had been torn open in the night sky. Initially, Chen Ge did not think much of this phenomenon, but when he used the wedding ring on his finger and realized that Xiao Sun's location was right under that patch of darkness, he started to panic. Brother Sun has made his move so soon. I've only sent it to him 2 days ago. Won't I be exposed if I act too hastily? Xiao Sun's pace was too fast. Chen Ge was still in puberty, and the cursed hospital appeared to have some kind of problem. There's no point in worrying. I should focus on my own matters first. The population of Shanghai was several times that of Zhujiang, so there were many ghost stories. However, most of them were made up, and only a few of them had real specters. For a professional like Chen Ge, sometimes he could tell whether a ghost story was real or fake from the description of a ghost story. Even so, Chen Ge had been tricked several times. In 2 nights, he had investigated 25 ghost stories in total, and 8 of them were fake. However, of the remaining 17 ghost stories, there were 5 red specters, and that was quite a scary probability. The thing that worried Chen Ge even more was that the 5 red specters that he encountered were all in a crazed state. Each of them was cursed, and the sentence that said the world is sick could be found in every scenario that they were in. Now, Chen Ge had a feeling that the sentence itself might be a curse. All the red specters, and humans that received the sentence had lost their minds. After 2 nights of hard work, Chen Ge was quite satisfied with his reward. Of the 5 crazed cursed red specters, 2 were used to awaken Chong Wenyu, 1 was fed to Xiao Biyu, and the remaining 2 were given to Xu Yin by Chen Ge. As he continued to consume red specters, the change on Xu Yin's body became more and more obvious. The black pattern that crawled out from his heart stuck to his skin like a second piece of clothing, and it gave off a sense of extreme danger. Of all the employees, other than Xu Yin, there was another employee who had changed a lot, and that was Zhang Yi. For a very unique specter like him, if he became a red specter by consuming red specters, it would seriously affect his talent, and it would not be worth it. Therefore, Chen Ge did not have Zhang Yi consume red specters but handed him the half-red specters that he encountered. Before consuming the 2 half-red specters, Zhang Yi asked Chen Ge to call Fang Yu, and then he chatted with Fang Yu for a long time. This was the first time he had actively chatted with Fang Yu. They had traveled through life and death, memory and the past. Chen Ge had no idea what Zhang Yi and Fang Yu were talking about. He only saw Zhang Yi's body become more and more transparent, and just as he was about to disappear, a drop of blood gushed out from his heart. Zhang Yi's power was to erase memories, but he could not recover memories that had already been erased. Thankfully, even though Fang Yu had forgotten all the memories about Zhang Yi, she did not forget the feeling of Zhang Yi's existence. She stubbornly waited in that park for 10 years and tattooed Fang Yu's name all over her body. She did not want to let go, and finally, she touched the person that she had been waiting for. 10 years ago, Zhang Yi had saved Fang Yu, and 10 years later, Fang Yu had become Zhang Yi's savior. After consuming the 2 half-red specters, Zhang Yi fell into a deep slumber. The drop of blood in his heart slowly spread until it formed a name that was branded into his heart. Fang Yu tattooed a name all over her body, and Zhang Yi carved a name into his heart. Crossing the distance between life and death, they chose to use this method to remember each other. When Zhang Yi wakes up, he should be a red specter. His talent will definitely become stronger, and perhaps he will even gain a new power. Zhang Yi's talent was powerful, and Chen Ge had high expectations for that. With that in mind, he glanced at the comic helplessly. Danian was still hiding inside the blank page. He ignored the outside world and focused on drawing his own comic. After Chen Ge captured the cursed half-red specter, the first person that came to his mind was Yan Danian. He had the red high heels control the half-red specter and placed the half-red specter and Yan Danian on the same page of the comic. Then, something that no one expected happened. One of them curled up in the corner, and the other leaned against the wall. The picture was quite harmonious. Yan Danian had never harmed anyone after his death, and he had never consumed a specter. He was very against this. Chen Ge tried his best to persuade Yan Danian, but he was unable to take that step. In the end, Chen Ge could only give up. After the old headmaster of Muyang High School passed away, he had not consumed a single specter, but he had become a half-red specter. From this, it could be seen that there were many ways for a specter to become stronger, and it was not limited to consuming other specters. However, compared to other methods, consuming specters was much faster. Actually, Chen Ge had also noticed that after Yan Danian had been following him for several months, the presence that he gave off had been growing stronger. However, because Yan Danian was too dispirited and lacking in confidence, he barely left the comic, so not many people noticed the change in him. He suspected that the increase in presence on Yan Danian had something to do with the various red specters that he had been stuffing into the comic every day. Any normal item would not be normal if it was occupied by 10 red specters every day. The comic was originally Yan Danian's possession, but now every page was filled with various specters. As time went by, Yan Danian's power increased mysteriously as well. Chen Ge could sense that Yan Danian's power was increasing, but the speed was too slow. He needed to go to the cursed hospital soon, so he had to turn Yan Danian into a red specter as soon as possible. He had high hopes for Yan Danian. After all, when he was at the school of the afterlife, the painter had said that Yan Danian's talent was above his. Thinking about the painter who had used his own power to build a heaven in the world behind the door and then looking at Yan Danian inside the comic, Chen Ge felt helpless. "Danian, if you're hungry, just say something." After summoning all the employees back into the comic, Chen Ge waited until dawn to return to Nightmare Academy. He had not slept that night, and he was about to go back to rest. When he opened the door to Nightmare Academy, he saw the living employees standing in the lobby. "You're waiting for me?" Chen Ge soon realized that something was wrong. Other than the living employees, there were a few police officers there. He had met one of them when he came to Xinhai the last time. The man's surname was Kai. Mr. Chen, don't be so nervous. We just have some questions for you. The leading officer walked to stand before Chen Ge. The night before yesterday, the card's archway at the old city collapsed. We saw your figure on the surveillance outside the street. I am curious why you would appear at that place at that time. With so many police officers there, Chen Ge immediately realized that the Xinhai police had discovered the dead bodies inside the card's archway. Even if you didn't come to find me, I would have gone to find you. Chen Ge's expression was even more serious than the police officers. Some things are not convenient to say here. How about we go back to the police station to discuss them? Go back to the police station? The leading officer shared a look with his colleague next to him. They were just going through the routine, but the man had volunteered to go back to the police station. Wasn't he being a bit too aggressive? Trust me, I really have something very important to tell you. Chen Ge emphasized it again and again. The few officers finally decided to bring Chen Ge back to the police station. Seeing Chen Ge leave with the police, Zhang Jingju signaled for Ku Changlin and Xiao Dai to go back to their work. Don't just stand there. Go do what you need to do. Brother Zhu, the boss has been taken away by the police. You're too calm. Xiao Dai was very worried. Could something have happened to the boss? It's pointless for you to worry. We need to trust the boss, and slowly, we'll get used to it. After getting into the police car, Chen Ge's expression became even more serious. He squeezed into the back with two other officers, and it made the two officers feel quite uncomfortable. The night before yesterday, why did you appear near the card's archway? Captain Kai was curious, and he desperately wanted to know the answer. Other than the card's archway at the old city, the night before yesterday, I also went to the skyscraper at the new city, the development zone at the countryside, and the barren land around the city. Chen Ge had taken a taxi to these places, so it was easy for the police to track him down. Therefore, he decided to tell them directly. Why did you go to so many places so late at night? It was not just the night before yesterday. Last night, I also went all over Xinhai's old city and the countryside. I did not get any sleep for 2 whole nights. Chen Ge was aggressive. He was the one being questioned, but he acted like he was the one being questioned. Why did you go to those places? I was investigating the whereabouts of a doctor. His surname is Fang. Chen Ge grabbed Captain Kai's hand. The situation is more serious than I thought. I might need your help. There was no evidence to prove that Chen Ge was related to the card's archway case. He had only appeared in the surveillance footage, and the police were only there to give it a try, but the development was beyond the police's expectation. Mr. Chen, you said you went to those places to investigate Dr. Fang's disappearance? Yes. Let's put that aside for now. Did you enter the card's archway last night? Captain Kai was more concerned about the card's archway case. After the card's archway collapsed 2 nights ago, the bodies that were buried underground were exposed. Some of the bodies had died a long time ago, but 2 of the bodies had died in recent months. After investigation, the police discovered that the victims were all homeless people. They were probably killed when they were resting at the card's archway at night. Based on the police's analysis, there was no conflict or mutual benefit between the killer and the victims. In other words, the killer was a madman who killed for fun. Such a dangerous person had to be captured as soon as possible, or he would definitely commit the same crime again. I entered the card's archway 2 nights ago and saw some things. If you want to solve the case at the card's archway, you cannot ignore the disappearance of Dr. Fang. Chen Ge leaned against the backseat of the police car. Before Dr. Fang disappeared, he seemed to have suffered some kind of mental trauma. He was in a trance all day long, and he kept coming up with scary ghost stories. Chen Ge took out the notebook that he used to record things. In the past 2 nights, I've investigated more than 20 ghost stories in Xinhai, trying to find the reason behind Dr. Fang's disappearance, and I did find something. Taking out several pieces of paper from his backpack, Chen Ge showed them to Captain Kai. I found these at some of the ghost stories. Reading the strange words on the paper, the young officer next to Chen Ge was confused, but Captain Kai's reaction was weird. He said subconsciously, "This sentence again? You've seen it before?" Chen Ge wanted to borrow the power of the police, but it was not easy to convince the police. After all, this was not Zhujiang. They had not worked together before, so no one trusted the other. However, Chen Ge did not expect Captain Kai to have seen the sentence on the paper. This way, they had a basis to continue their conversation. About half a year ago, there were 2 murder cases in Shanghai. The victims died in extremely strange ways. We saw similar words at the crime scenes. Captain Kai put on his gloves and accepted the note from Chen Ge. Even though the case was successfully solved, how should I put this? When we found the murderer had already gone mad. All kinds of evidence pointed to the madman as the murderer, so we didn't investigate further. Quote. The words on the note appeared half a year ago. Chen Ge calculated the time, and that was around the time his parents disappeared. Now that the words on the note have reappeared, does that mean that there was more than one killer? Chen Ge had already given the Shanghai police a lot of face. He did not say that the Shanghai police had missed out on the real killer, but he did say in a roundabout way that there might be more than one killer. In terms of motive and technique, it is indeed possible. Captain Kai had never been so serious before. Mr. Chen, you have provided us with a very important clue this time. 10 minutes later, 3 officers led Chen Ge into Shanghai City's police station. Since he was involved in multiple murder cases, Captain Kai paid a lot of attention to Chen Ge, so he led him directly to the internal meeting room. Pushing the door open, Captain Kai did not expect there to be other people in the meeting room. A middle-aged officer sat at the table with a serious expression. Standing across from him was a male teacher who had the presence of an ancient scholar. The 2 of them were arguing over a certain question until their faces were red. Captain Yang? Mr. Wang? Captain Kai and Chen Ge spoke at the same time, and the few looked at each other. Who is he? The middle-aged officer who was called Captain Yang looked at Chen Ge. Oh, Kai, why did you bring someone into the internal meeting room? The night before yesterday, when the archway collapsed, we found the bodies of 2 homeless people. The cause of death was determined to be cardiac arrest due to intense stimulation. It was obvious that they were murdered. During the investigation, we ran into Mr. Chen, and he provided us with a very important clue. Captain Kai took out the note. The 2 murders from half a year ago, there was more than one killer. The murders of the homeless people and the previous cases were probably done by the same group of people. The killers who killed the homeless people at the archway are the same group of people who committed the murders from half a year ago. Captain Yang fell into deep thought. Moments later, he turned to Mr. Wang. Oh, Wang. It's not that I don't want to help you, but as you can see, Shanghai has not been very peaceful recently. Many cases have popped up. We cannot focus our attention on a case where the killer from 20 years ago is already dead. I hope you can understand. Mr. Wang seemed to have expected this result. His expression did not change. You guys continue to talk. I'll be leaving now. He was not in a good mood. When he passed Chen Ge, he whispered, Mr. Chen, when you come out from the police station, remember to contact me. Me? Chen Ge had no idea why Mr. Wang would suddenly come to find him, but he still nodded. They were all from Zhejiang, so it was only right for them to help each other out. After Mr. Wang left, Captain Kai closed the door of the conference room and started to ask Chen Ge some questions in detail. Chen Ge had accumulated a lot of experience at the Zhejiang police station. He knew the whole investigation system like the back of his hand. Initially, it was 2 officers who were asking questions, but later, Chen Ge slowly took control of the conversation. He used a carbon pen to list all the clues on the board. Those who did not know better might have thought that he was a senior lecturer hired by the police station. His thought process was clear and logical. Chen Ge used the simplest words to clear his name and then organized all the information about the 2 murders. The cases that spanned half a year were linked together, and the link was the sentence on the paper. The real killer is not crazy, or rather, they are a team. They know that they will not be able to escape from the police, so they threw away the card to save the king and pushed out a madman as the scapegoat. When Chen Ge said those words, he had been observing the change in the expressions of the 2 officers. When there was light in the world, there would be darkness. The cases that had happened half a year ago needed to be reopened. This result was not something that everyone could accept. Some people might purposely obstruct the investigation to avoid responsibility. But thankfully, Captain Yang and Captain Kai were not people like that. After they confirmed that the two cases were related and knew that the real killer was still at large, they immediately activated the emergency plan and summoned the Xinhai police station's investigation team in front of Chen Ge. It was a police meeting, but there was a stranger in the room. The young officers who just entered the room were all surprised. But Chen Ge was not surprised. In fact, he even found a seat for himself. "Mr. Chen, we are going to discuss some internal cases. According to the rules, this information cannot be leaked, so please wait outside for a while." Captain Kai saw that Chen Ge was going to listen in, and a helpless smile appeared on his face. "Yu Ji, bring Mr. Chen to the break room to wait." A female officer with a baby face walked over. Chen Ge left the room unwillingly. "Looks like they still do not fully trust me. Then again, after all, I am just a stranger from Zhujiang." Chen Ge stretched lazily. "But it doesn't matter. We will get to know each other more often in the future." He did not sleep that night. After Chen Ge entered the break room, he pulled a few chairs together. Then, with his backpack as his pillow, he lay on top of them and fell asleep. Throughout the whole process, the female officer stood beside him. She watched as Chen Ge dragged the chairs and fell asleep just like that. He purposely came to the police station to sleep. What kind of human behavior is this? Yu Ji did not dare disobey the orders given by her superior. She even suspected that the man before her might be some important suspect, so she had to keep an eye on him. With no other choice, Yu Ji leaned against the table and kept her eyes on the sleeping Chen Ge. 1 hour later, Chen Ge was shaken awake by someone. Captain Kai and Yu Ji were standing next to him. "You've finished your discussion?" "Yes. We plan to combine the case from half a year ago and the case from the night before yesterday." Captain Kai poured a glass of water for Chen Ge. "Other than that, we will temporarily keep the note. After the case is solved, we will return it to you." "There's no need for that. You can keep the note, but I advise you not to stare at the words on it for too long." The note was not something good. Since the police were willing to keep it, naturally, Chen Ge would not reject them. "Thank you for your cooperation." Captain Kai handed the disposable glass of water to Chen Ge. "In the near future, we might summon you. We hope that you will not leave Xinhai for the time being. Why don't we exchange contact numbers directly? If you need any help, just let me know. I am also very worried about Dr. Fang's safety, and I want to know more about him as soon as I can." Chen Ge took out his phone. Captain Kai could not find an excuse to reject him, so he directly exchanged phone numbers with Chen Ge. "This case is not as simple as you think. The culprits are a team, so they are very dangerous. You have to be careful." Chen Ge's purpose of coming to Xinhai had been achieved. He had gotten in touch with the police and had them start to target the cursed hospital. Now, he only needed to slowly gain the police's trust, and then he would have another great help. "Okay, we will be careful. You should go back to sleep. See you tomorrow." Looking at Chen Ge's back as he left, Yu Ji's heart was filled with confusion. In the end, she could not help but ask, "Captain Kai, who is this man? This is the first time I've seen you speak in such a soft and gentle voice." "His name is Chen Ge. He is the only normal citizen in Zhujiang who has received the Public Security Medal of Honor. He has been involved in more than 10 serious crimes, and more than 20 lives have been lost." Captain Kai's eyes were serious. "I used to be classmates with Li Zhen from Zhujiang's Criminal Investigation Unit. I have heard about this man's story a long time ago, but I did not expect him to come to Xinhai so soon. Could it be just a rumor? Involved in more than 10 serious crimes, and more than 20 lives have been lost? Is he Detective Conan?" Yu Ji's interest in Chen Ge was piqued. She kept staring at Chen Ge's back. "I need to get back to work. Something big is going to happen in Xinhai." Just as Chen Ge exited the police station, Mr. Wang, who was standing by the roadside, walked over to him. "Mr. Wang, you have been waiting for me?" Chen Ge had a good impression of Mr. Wang. To be more precise, he had a good impression of everyone at Zhujiang University of Law and Medicine. "Yes." Mr. Wang hesitated. He stared at Chen Ge for a long time before he said, "I heard from Zuo Han that you were a legend. To search for your missing parents, you have flipped over half of Zhujiang and solved many big and serious crimes. You flatter me. I am just lucky. To be able to solve one murder case after another, that is not good luck. It is the worst luck in the world. Mr. Wong sighed. Death, despair, pain, struggle. Behind every murder case is the evil of humanity. In this era of peace, we are the closest to evil. Mr. Wong was very serious, and so did Chen Ge. Teacher, why are you looking for me? More than 20 years ago, there was a serial murder case in Zhejiang. At the time, surveillance was not yet common, and the killer purposely chose to commit the crime in the countryside. This made the case very difficult to solve. Mr. Wong looked at the cars that passed by on the road, and it sounded like he was talking to himself. To prevent panic, all the information related to the case was locked down. The higher-ups even gave the order that we had to capture the killer within a week. In the end, we did capture the killer on the 7th day, but at the time, we suspected that there was more than one killer. Mr. Wong sighed softly. The killer could not even form a complete sentence. He is the killer because all the evidence points to him. All the evidence points to him. Doesn't that prove that you did not capture the wrong person? Chen Ge had a hunch. But what if part of the evidence was purposely forged by the killer? Mr. Wong gripped his hands together. The killer is very cunning. He probably came up with a way to escape before he killed the first victim. The atmosphere was heavy, and both parties were silent for a while. Then Mr. Wong spoke again. That case has become a thorn in my heart. I will always be reminded of the victim's face, his eyes, and his last struggle to beg me for help. When Mr. Wong said that, he kept his eyes on Chen Ge. Do you know the name of the last victim in that serial murder case? What is his name, Chen Ge? The child has the same name as you. Mr. Wong took a deep breath. Perhaps that is why Captain Yan is so protective of you. You're two different people, but the way you look at each other is very similar. His name is also Chen Ge? Chen Ge was startled. Mr. Wong, can you tell me more about that case from 20 years ago? The first victim of that case was a foreign tourist. He accidentally used his camera to take a picture of the killer killing a child. The killer was wearing a white coat, and the child was about 5 years old. The case that Mr. Wong mentioned sounded familiar to Chen Ge. After the tourist died, we started to investigate, and we slowly realized that the killer was very cruel. He used different methods to kill several children of the same age and size. Even though we did not find the children's bodies, the surveillance footage and eyewitnesses proved it. What happened next was even more ridiculous. 2 eyewitnesses were killed one after another, and the killer in the white coat even destroyed part of the evidence. For more thrilling fanfiction stories like this, check out my channel Fanfic Audiobook. Dive into epic adventures, mysterious realms, and legendary journeys brought to life through immersive storytelling. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing audiobooks.